Oh. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to another impromptu Rachel Hollis analysis. Hello. Yes, I wasn't planning on coming live, I swear. Today was going to be a get out of jail free Rachel Hollis day. But I listened to her podcast on my way to therapy, which is never a good idea. But it does stir something in me, I suppose. So maybe it is a good thing. So I was listening to it on the way there, and I thought maybe she was going to talk about the internet haters. I was thinking maybe she was going to bring up, YouTubers, because Dave has mentioned us, or at least, people on the internet who are haters, trolls, in his opinion. So I was wondering if this was Rachel Hollis's response to the internet haters. But it didn't quite go there, but I did take it personally a couple times. Some of the things she said I feel like could have been directed against people who criticize her. But then by the end, I was thinking maybe she was talking about Heidi. She was definitely talking about Dave, but maybe she was talking about Heidi. So in my inquisitive thought process of the Rachel Hollis podcast, and meaning inquisitive process, meaning I just didn't know what was what. So I posted on Instagram on a story, and I was like, you know what? Some people responded and said like, oh, are you going to talk about it today? And I wasn't, but here we are. Another day, another dollar. So welcome everybody. I see your comments. Thank you. And I'm not saying you have to do this, but if you do happen to do this, I believe I have figured out a solution to the super chat functionality. So I know last time, hello. I know last time a lot of, well, not a lot, but a few people had sent super chats and they came out all wonky where it was like written out what the character was doing. So it should now, if that happens again, not do that crazy stuff. So seeing your comments, thank you for joining. And I love how you guys all talk together and have your own analysis. So we're getting started. And to start off today, so I kind of gave like a very chaotic update on what's going on. So nothing crazy. It's not how to manifest money. I think that one was much worse. But it was cringy enough that I think it was important to talk about in some capacity. And Rachel Hollis basically did a podcast released, I believe, this morning, where she is asking her audience, are you a mean girl? We already know she calls women girls, given Girl Wash Your Face, her titled book. So by girl, she means woman, except she does address that there's some middle school and high school girls who listen to her podcast, allegedly. I guess you could see that through the podcast analytics, but I don't know a lot of girls, teen girls or middle school age girls, but I don't know one that would find her content interesting or relatable. I am not a Gen Z. I'm a millennial, but Rachel Hollis is definitely not a Gen Z. So yeah. So I don't know if she was trying to be facetious or like using girl to signify girls of all ages and just put that in there that there might be some high school girls listening, but I think that's highly doubtful. Anyway, so we're going to listen to this podcast. She also released a Rach talk, which was also not as exciting as the last one that we watched together, but I figure why not? Why not just have this be part of our weekly activity until it dies out, becomes boring? Okay, so to start off, I always want to remind everybody as to why I believe Rachel is sort of a mean girl, mean woman herself. And this is from April 2021, so less than a year ago, almost a year, coming up on a year, where she had a little breakdown, and I think, in my personal humble opinion, was a little bit mean, especially to women who work in the labor, I would say harder labor industry, the cleaning world. And most of you probably have seen this if you're watching this right now, but it's always a good time to have a recap, especially when it's only 59 seconds. So here's Rachel totally not being a mean girl.
Okay, Yesterday, I was doing a live stream and I mentioned that there's this sweet woman who comes to my house twice a week and cleans. She's my house cleaner. She cleans the toilets. Someone commented and said, "You are privileged AF." And I was like, you're right. I'm super freaking privileged, but also I worked my ass off to have the money to have someone come twice a week and clean my toilets. And I told her that. And then she said, "Well, you're unrelatable."
Thank you very much, Amanda. It worked. Side note, it worked. If you can see it on the screen. Congrats. Congrats to me. It worked. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very, very much.
What is it about me that made you think I want to be relatable? No, sis, literally everything I do in my life is to live a life that most people can't relate to. Most people won't work this hard. Most people won't get up at 4 a.m. Most people won't fail publicly again and again just to reach the top of the mountain. Literally every woman I admire in history was unrelatable. If my life is relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong.
So in case you forgot, that's our girl. This is actually Rachel Hollis. Our girl Rach is new and improved, loves law of attraction and manifestation, and is super nice and is the girl next door. She's not mean, but I think that was pretty mean. Pretty mean to the person who commented that she's unrelatable, which, okay, it could also be a mean comment, but power dynamic. Rachel's up here, that commenter's down here in the platform, at least, commenting you're unrelatable. So she's being mean to that person. She's being mean to the toilet cleaner that comes to her house, a sweet lady. She calls the cleaning woman, the cleaning person, a lady, not a girl. Calls the commenter sis. So there's a lot of name throwing. Even though they're like gentle, nice names, they're still passive aggressive. So I just wanted to remind everybody that, because Rachel speaks in this as if she's never said a mean thing in her life, and that, the only time she's ever been mean or had any mean thoughts or feelings is when she's been kind of bullied or she's just reacting to someone else's meanness. So I think she completely does not talk about this clip, which was a huge reason why her career had tanked the way it has so far, why she pivoted now into this magical bullshit, in my opinion. And so that was my reminder. And now we're going to listen to this. We're going to skip through. There's a few ads this one. There's the Zola wedding one. There's actually an ad for Mel Robbins' Audible book, which I was surprised because Mel Robbins seems to be Team Dave after the divorce. So that was kind of an interesting update, but we're going to skip past those. So without further ado, let's listen to Rachel Hollis asking you, are you mean? Let me just say for the bat, I think I am fairly mean, obviously. I think to be critical, you have to be mean. And that's okay. I can take that. I think when I was a nicer person, people walked all over me. And being nice doesn't always get you anywhere. It's not good to be horrible to people and nasty and call them toilet cleaners. But, to be mean is it's not the worst thing in the world. And it depends what you mean by being mean. But let's see what Rachel means about being mean. I mean, Rach. She's really pushing this Rach thing, and I really believe she's going to come out with a brand called Just Rach. How to manifest your dreams by marrying rich. But she'll leave out that second part. That's just like the underlying message. Okay, let's go.
There's a beauty in stripping away the pieces of us that don't serve, the pieces of us that make us the worst version of ourselves, or that sort of create something negative inside of us. And if you don't take time to think through that and unpack it, then you run the risk that it's going to stay with you forever. Hi, I'm Rachel Hollis, and this is my podcast. I spend so many hours of every single week reading and listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos and trying to find out as much as I can about the world around me. And that's what we do on this show.
Okay, I know this is the intro, and we talked about the intro already, but I could also say the same thing I'm a Rachel Hollis expert. I should have my own Rachel Hollis podcast because I read books and listen to podcasts about Rachel Hollis. So therefore, in her mind, she is an expert in all these areas that she gives advice on. So I'm going to give Rachel advice because I'm an expert in her own life, given the credentials needed to become an expert and to have a podcast be super successful in the business category. Okay. moving on. This is her generic opener that some people told me last time reminds them of a different podcast, something about being curious. I forget the name of the person, but it was something about being curious. So if it sounds familiar, it might be from that other person's podcast.
We talk about everything, life, and how to be an entrepreneur. What happened to dinosaurs? What's the best recipe for fried chicken? What's the best plan for intermittent fasting? What's going on with our inner child? How's therapy working out for you? Whatever it is my guests are into, I want to unpack it so that we can all understand. These are conversations. This is information for the curious. This is the Rachel Hollis Podcast.
Also, just for the record, a conversation is two people talking, conversing, sharing thoughts, and approving or disapproving of each other's beliefs, validating or not. A conversation, very much like this is. I don't consider this a conversation. I consider this me talking to a camera, and you are listening, and I am analyzing, and I can read your comments, but it's not a conversation. I think it's another parasocial relationship, and I think the more that I try to point that out, the better. Because I feel like all these self-help people will try to draw you in with you at home. I know you feel this way. It's like, as soon as you hear that, time out. They cannot see you. They cannot hear you. They don't know who you are.
Hi, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. I'm Rachel Hollis, your host, your friend, your big sister, your favorite cousin. You know, basically whatever you need me to be. Your mama. I'm here for it.
She'll be whatever you need her to be, as long as you pay $5.99.
This is so silly, but I'm so distracted this morning by my back is so tense and my shoulders are so tense, and I haven't had a massage in ages. And this has nothing to do with today's episode, but just roll with me for a minute. I keep trying to get a massage appointment, and like every time I go to look for one on a couple different places where I know to go in Austin, it's like they don't have anything for like a month. And then when I just get like, I don't want to wait that long. I'll find another option. And then I don't book it. And then that month goes by, and then I think, why didn't I just, Rach, get it together. And today I went to see about...
Rach, get it together. See, she's putting those little Rach's in there just to get you to think like she refers to herself as Rach. So when she comes out with Rach.com, you're not surprised, because she can't be Rachel because Rachel Ray is Rachel and has the Rachel show. She can't be Rachel Hollis anymore because Dave Hollis is attached to Dave Hollis. So now she's going to be Rach, R-A-C-H. And I can see it now. I can see like the little Verdana font, Rach talk, Rach dreams. It's definitely, well, I shouldn't say it's definitely. In my opinion, it appears to be some sort of marketing ploy to start dropping in these Rach's ever so often. She came out with it 3 episodes ago, and it's been consistently added to every show.
I still didn't book it, but I did have a great thought, which I was like, dang, is it harder to get a massage now? Because one of the things that people took out of 2020 was the importance of health and self-care and taking time out for yourself. And I just really want to believe that is the truth. And that's why it's hard to get someone to rub the tension out of my shoulders. So I flipped it, and I feel like it's an awesome thing. And I'm going to just continue to try and handle this myself. I will go out and roll, use a foam roller and roll out my back. I'll use a heating.
Okay, so just to recap, because I know I cut it off there in the middle, she's saying that she wants to book a massage but can't book one because they're a month out in Austin, and she could be upset about that, but she's going to flip it. She's going to positively spin this one, girly friends, and instead of feeling like she should be pissed off at the massage parlors of Austin, Texas, she's going to say that, or believe that it's because they're so busy, because everyone took that from 2020. The lesson of 2020 was definitely that we all need to work on self-care, which apparently means massages. Maybe there's a different answer. I guess, I would assume that my guess is that Austin, Texas has now become like the new Silicon Valley, the new, Southern California as well. Elon's moving there. They're moving a lot of startups and higher money making entities to Austin, Texas because of the tax breaks and also the land that's available. And so Austin's becoming a hub for much higher class facilities. So with the companies coming, Tesla coming, all those bigger companies, becomes a higher, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word, a higher class of people perhaps, or at least people with higher dispensable income. Therefore, those services like massages and golf courses and high-end restaurants that cost $50 for, an appetizer, those start to trickle in as well. So maybe she's starting to feel the pressure of like, oh, now this is kind of like the LA that she left. She went to cheapo Texas. Now, I'm not saying it's cheap there, but I'm saying compared to LA, much more affordable. And now it's becoming just what she left. So she's unused to having to wait a month to get a massage. Or it could just be that everyone somehow found $150, because they manifested it. And now they're going to use that to get a massage. Whichever. I don't know. Which one's more likely? Probably the one that I said, but you let me know.
I tried just about everything because
Also, I'm going to go back 15 seconds. We're only 2 minutes in, and the first mention of her boyfriend comes right now.
I feel like it's an awesome thing, and I'm going to just continue to try and handle this myself. I will go out and like roll, use like a foam roller and roll out my back. I'll use a heating pad. I try just about everything because my boo thing is in Europe for a couple of weeks, and that's usually who I turn to. I'm like, can you rub my shoulders and make this feel better? But that has nothing to do with today's episode. It was just something I thought. I was like, dang it. Are we all out here practicing some self-care? Because I'm here for it, guys. And if you're not practicing self-care, maybe you're listening to this podcast because you needed that reminder. Because today we're going to talk about mean girls and whether or not you, anyone listening, might have some mean girl tendencies or just straight up be a mean girl. What does that mean? Why does it happen? And how can we make change? And actually, come to think of it, starting the conversation talking about self-care is not a bad idea. Because if you're truly loving yourself, then you'll truly love and care for other people. So,
okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. But there's a lot to think about in what she said. Basically, she's saying that, if you truly, I hate this argument, by the way, if you truly love yourself, you'll love other people. Okay, so if you criticize someone else, that means you don't love yourself? I mean, in some cases, perhaps, but in many other cases, and probably more often, maybe you're just being critical. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't mean like, oh, I hate myself internally. I think that's the thing that, Dave Hollis and Heidi Powell definitely do a lot of is projection onto others. And, they look at the critiques and they look at the hate that they get online and they say, well, that person must hate themselves to be able to come, and criticize me. So if that's the logic, right? I mean, then you'd have to say anyone who has different political beliefs against the other side, must hate themselves for their beliefs or religious beliefs or whatever. Or if you think, murder is bad, well, that must be something internally inside of you that makes you feel that way. It's not that the murderer did anything wrong. It's like, at what level does it change into, no, that's a fair critique. This is not a fair critique. And the way that and I'm saying they, meaning Heidi Powell, Dave Hollis, Rachel Hollis, they say everything is like universal law, basically. Like, my advice can relate to anybody. So in that logic, all the advice can relate to every situation, including this one. So, if you're mean, it must be something inside of you. And I just don't buy it. I think people have opinions, whether, the way you express those opinions, I think is important. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this is a fairly healthy way to express my opinions about toxic positivity culture on a YouTube channel in which I try to stay focused into that lane. I never go and call Rachel on the phone or comment on her stuff or whatever and say, "You're a jerk," and like put it out there for her or, anything like that. I just have my space. We talk about it. I try to give her the benefit of the doubt when I can, and that's it. So I think there's different ways. Now, if I was harassing her every day, that's another thing. But I think, I have my opinions. It's either I'm going to repress them or I'm going to express them in a healthy way. And I happen to, be a videographer, so this makes the most sense. I could write about it. I could draw about it, but this is my medium, so therefore. So that's also like a defense of myself as we move on, because I think a lot of these things can be related to me and other commentators. So I'm almost preemptively defending myself here.
That's what we're chatting about today, everyone. Let's start with this topic. I'm not sure. It must have been invented by Tina Fey when she wrote the movie Mean Girls. Or, because that movie I feel like is based on a book, unless I'm crazy, called something like Queen Bees and Wannabes. I feel like I heard that once. I'm a big Tina Fey fan, so I feel like I heard that once. And she wrote the movie Mean Girls, which if you have not seen, I come out from under the rock that you've been in for 20 years and give that a gander, because it still holds up. It's still hilarious. It's Lindsay Lohan. I won't say it's at her best, because I really think we can all agree that the best Lindsay ever was in Parent Trap. Remember when they remade Parent Trap with Lindsay and it was fantastic? And it had, what is his name? The handsome Quaid was in it as the dad. And then,
who's the ugly Quaid? I don't know the Quaid brothers very well, but I know Dennis Quaid, who was in the movie, I believe, and she's like the handsome Quaid. Isn't that mean? Isn't that a mean comment right there? The handsome Quaid? Come on, that's mean. That's like focusing on someone's look. I never, ever, ever, and hold me accountable, focus on someone's looks as a primary reason as to why I don't like somebody. It's usually, maybe if it's something like I criticize her clothing, Rachel's clothing, but it was in the context of her being on stage at a conference where she charged thousands of dollars for people to be there. And she's wearing bicycle shorts. I thought that was, inappropriate. But she's being mean right now.
Who plays the mom, but she died in that tragic skiing accident. Rest in peace. And then there was Meredith. Why do I only remember one character's name? I don't even remember the girls that Lindsay Lohan plays. But I remember Meredith, which was the dad's fiance. What a movie. Again, nothing to do with this. Mean Girls, the movie, fantastic. Sort of gave us.
And just for the record, this is like her every podcast and every Rach talk. She can't remember actors' names, movies' names, show names, what year, anything that's relevant to the story, or I guess irrelevant in some ways. She Google it before you talk about it. Have some sort of structure. I get the loosey-goosiness. I love loosey-goosey, but it becomes a problem when it's every single episode and you don't get anything out of it, because she can't remember who is in it, why it matters, and why she's been bringing it up. It's like, all right, can we just get to the meat of this then? Let's get going. This is kind of pointless. Do this in a draft version, cut it out, and then post the done one, because we got stuff to do.
This phrase and this terminology. But what I want to talk about today is how this actually shows up in real life. And this shows up in school, obviously. I know that there are listeners of the show who are in middle school and high school. What's up, girls? Thanks for joining. And I'm sure that y'all are experiencing this every single day, but it also carries over into adulthood. Many of us are having to interact with a mean girl in real life. And I'm going to talk about that. But really why I wanted to do this episode was because I wanted to consider, what if you're the mean girl and you never thought about it before? And so I'm going to go through some things today. And
I've thought about it. I go to therapy twice a week, and I think about it a lot. Trust me.
I just want you to open your mind and open your heart to where this might show up for you, because I genuinely live my life trying to love everyone and work so hard on being non-judgmental and being open and accepting of every person. And even with that as a core value and something that I aim for in my life, even then, I still find myself judging. Or even when I
Oh my God, guys. Even Rachel Hollis judges sometimes. Crazy. It's crazy. Even the best person on the earth, the nicest, sweetest girl ever, She even judges, guys. So like, we have a chance to redeem ourselves.
Going through and making my notes, I still was like, oh dang, I definitely have done that before. So I don't think any of us escape this. And there's a beauty in stripping away the pieces of us that don't serve, the pieces of us that make us the worst version of ourselves, or that sort of create something negative inside of us. And if you don't take time to think through that and unpack it, then you run the risk that it's going to stay with you forever. And that's what I want to dig into today. So just to start, let's talk about the different kinds of mean girls, because it's possible that you actually are one of these and you don't think that you're a mean girl because you're not actually being mean to someone's face. Okay? So the snarky mean girl, the one who's...
That's who I think she means by the YouTubers, the snarky girls. Literally the community that talks about these types of things and talks about, YouTubers and people who make interesting decisions, like influencers and whatnot. They call it snark. We snark together. We analyze things in the Reddit communities. People will bring up a topic that an influencer did and everyone will snark about it. So in a non-positive way, express their feelings about a topic relating to that person. So in the Hollis Uncensored Reddit thread that I've talked about before on this channel, people will talk about a myriad of things, including things going on in their own life, but also what's going on with Heidi and Dave and Rachel and whatever. But also, as Rachel would say, we'll talk about other things too. And that is a snark community. And I didn't know what snarking was until I got into it, before I joined, to be quite honest. Someone said oh, I love snark. And I was like, what's that? And I found out what it is. So I think in my mind, subliminally, at least, she's telling me this is the community that is mean. This is a mean-spirited group.
Sort of got a snarky comment for everything. They sort of say bitchy things under their breath. They make backhanded compliments. They're they're snarky. And they're not overtly mean. They're not super hardcore rude, but they're also honestly not someone that other people gravitate to. They put people off. And oftentimes that's a protective mechanism. We're going to talk about that, kind of why do we arm ourselves with these things. But one type of mean girl is the snarky mean girl. And the second type of mean girl is the funny mean girl. Now, this is the person who makes everyone laugh. She is the life of the party. She's always got a joke, but all of her jokes are about other people. And more than once in life, maybe more than...
What's a joke supposed to be about then? If it's not about other people, just self-deprecating constantly, what? You have to joke about other people or else you're going to run out of material really quick. The only person in the world that can talk about themselves this much is Rachel Hollis. My God. She's the only person on earth who can talk about themselves incessantly, to write several books and hours of podcasts where it's only talking about her own experiences. It's you have to talk about other people. 99% of the world's population must speak of others, especially in a joking fashion, or it will get so old so fast.
In your interaction with her, there's been a joke that goes too far. There's something that she says that really hurts your feelings. Or she sort of pushes the line just a little bit too much. But if you, oftentimes we don't say anything, so we're like, oh, they didn't mean it, right? Or maybe you actually do have the courage and you tell your friend hey, that actually stung, that hurt my feelings. The funny mean girl's oh, lighten up. It's just a joke. Can't you take a joke? The funny mean girl. The third kind that I thought of was the passive aggressive mean girl. Oh man, the passive aggressive mean girl coming to you live in the form of mother-in-laws all over the world. It's the person, the woman, the girl at school who is absolutely judging you, is absolutely thinking negative things, or wants you to know that she thinks what you're doing is wrong, but she's not actually going to say it straight to your face. She's going to couch it in a passive aggressive way. It's the, oh my gosh, it's amazing that the kids are doing so well in school given how much you work, right? It's the I'm gonna passively attack you, but make...
This comment came up at the perfect time. It says, Rach was mean to that woman just trying to eat pizza for lunch. Okay, so everyone remember Pam? Pam is the, make-believe woman in Rachel's life where, who's overweight and can't be trusted because she can't stick to a diet. And, she goes to work and says, I'm going to do Whole30, and then eats a pizza the next week. And, Rachel's judging her because she's unable to stay integral to the diet in which she is, declared that she's going to be a part of. That seems like pretty judgmental and pretty mean, and also pretty passive aggressive. So, and as Rachel said, maybe, she wasn't mean to the woman eating a pizza's face and said, how dare you, you fat slob. Okay, that would be overtly mean and that would make you look bad. But passive aggressively writing a book about it and saying that anyone like that is untrustworthy, that's pretty mean. That's pretty mean, I think. And also, when she talked about looking at the picture of herself and Dave, and they're like, oh, it looks like I've been stung by a billion bees. I was so chubby. When she's, several pounds bigger than she is now, which is not, I would say, obese or overweight or, health concerning at that time. That's pretty mean, especially when you know that your viewers come from a wide variety of backgrounds, and you can assume that at least some of them have bodies that are bigger than what you're showing and making fun of on the screen. Even though it's you, it doesn't matter. That's still pretty passive aggressive and meant to be funny. So again, she's projecting off of herself. She's saying, girls like this do this. Mother-in-laws like this do this. And I'm not saying she's wrong. I think mother-in-laws, that an older generation tend to be more passive aggressive, or they learned in a different time that that's the best way to handle things, like judgy. But she's forgetting about herself in all these scenarios. She leaves that out because that makes her look bad.
Mistake, even if it's a passive approach, it's still absolutely someone being mean. The fourth kind that I thought of was, and this might be a lot of you, so I want you to take this in for a minute, is the mean girl that only is mean behind people's backs. She just talks crap about everybody to everybody. And make no mistake, I actually had an adult friendship, meaning I was friends with someone in my adult life that was this person.
Please define what an adult relationship means. Well, I guess it doesn't mean a porno, I suppose. It means that you were an adult and that person was an adult. Okay, so basically every relationship. Got it. Thank you.
And I should have realized this as a red flag. She had shit to talk about every single person that we both knew, and even people I didn't know. She always had something to say. She always had gossip, big gossip. And you probably have women that moms at school, girls at school, women at church who love to gossip. But make no mistake, if someone's gossiping about everybody, you better believe that they are gossiping about you to other people. The behind your back mean girl, I think, is a lot of people, and they don't realize, oh crap, I am. Because if you listen to this podcast, you know how much I believe in the idea of, and the energy that we put out into the world, and how that is the result of the energy that we get back. And I honestly wonder this a lot. I wonder how many people, not just women, but men, kids, whatever, are going around unconsciously being mean, being judgmental, saying snarky things, and they're putting that negative energy out into the world, and the negative energy is coming back at them, and they don't understand why. How many people are not making the connection between their actions and the karmic response?
Me. I'm so sick of this. Oh my God. I thought we were ending the period of time in which law of attraction was going to be popular. The Secret came out in 2005, for Christ's sake. We're past the point where this is new information or some sort of exciting thing that Oprah is talking about. We are past that. It is 2020. I thought we were kind of on the end of this. And we could move on with our lives and start to focus on other things. But no, we're back to law of attraction as being content meant for women to consume and spend money learning about. It's just, you don't have energy in the way that it's described in this bullshit way. And this is my opinion again. This is my personal belief. I'm sorry if I'm offending you if you believe in this, but no one has vibrations, right? And it's just a way to look down on people. And it's a passive aggressive way to say that you're above somebody, to say that you're high vibrational and someone else is low vibrational. That is mean. That is rude. It's not even accurate in any sense of the word. What does that mean? Your heart beats faster? Your heart beats slower than someone else? Your vibes? Those aren't real. Those are not tangible things, but the way law of attraction people sell their expertise is like, well, I can teach you how to raise your vibration. It's like, what, going like this? Oh, like what? No. Believing good things, great, wonderful. It's great to be positive, but there's no physical manifestation that's going to happen because, and once again, I'll bring up this point that none of the law of attraction people I know have ever addressed this. If this is all true, if your vibes bring on your health and bring on your wellness and blah, 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 and like you cause all the issues in your world, number one, isn't all these mean people surrounding Rachel supposed to be there to teach her a lesson about meanness? Somehow she's attracting all these mean people into her life for a reason, right? She's putting out negative vibes, so therefore they're coming back to her. So really, it's her own fault, right? In her own logic. Secondly, the thing that I was mentioning that no one ever talks about is children. Things happen to babies. Bad things happen to children. Where's their responsibility? Are they just as responsible at 4 years old for controlling their universe and their mindset and their thoughts and whatever? Children have trust funds, right? Some of them. Did that mean that they have positive vibes? They were thinking about being millionaires when they were 2 years old? No. So what is that? Just an anomaly? But then that can't explain, universal law. So again, it doesn't make sense, and I hate that it's being touted, and it's only one, if you ask a question like that, it's like, I can't answer it. It's a negative question. You can't answer it because there is no answer. It's ridiculous. There's a children's cancer ward. Explain that, that exists in our world. Explain that while also telling me that, oh, my vibes affect my reality. Shut up.
Because what you put out is what you get back. Straight up, go listen to my episodes about law of attraction, about manifesting. I have a perfect example of this. So it's not about being mean. This is about what you put out into the universe. So if you listen to my series on law of attraction, I can't remember which episode it is. I apologize. But if you scroll back a little bit, you'll be able to find it. It's a 2-part episode on law of attraction. It was really popular with listeners. And inside one of those episodes, I did this thing called the $10 challenge. It was something I made up in the moment because I just wanted to prove to people that what you are putting out into the world, you're going to get back. And what we expect is what we will receive. So I challenged listeners. I said, I want you to challenge yourself that you're going to find $10 this week. You're going to find it on the ground. You're going to find it in an old purse. You forgot it was there. But I want you to anticipate that you're going to find $10. So we do this $10 challenge, and the response was wild. I made whole episodes, we put together whole episodes with people just sharing their stories of how they just kept finding money. And spoiler alert, nobody found just $10. Everyone found $42 or $12 or whatever. It was just this beautiful.
Doesn't that take away the accuracy of it? Okay, find $10 to prove to me that this is real. I found $42. What it means, it's more real. It's 42 times more real than the $10. I would be more shocked and wow, amazing if it was $10 exactly and someone just handed it to you and said, I just felt compelled to give this to you. It's the rules change depending on the outcome. If you found $0, it'd be well, you were wanting it too bad. It's oh my God. There's a justification for all of this crap.
Example of what we're putting out and taking in. So I was recording episodes. I just recorded 2 episodes, which hopefully you've gotten a chance to listen to, about the mindset that you need to attract money. And really those episodes were about what we believe about money.
The mindset is marry rich.
And how we were raised by our parents and subconsciously, and how that affects our ability to hold on to money and not self-sabotage money. You can go listen to those. But anyway, I was recording these episodes and I was talking about the $10 challenge. And when I finished recording, I thought, you know what? I'm going to make up a new challenge for myself. And by the way, you guys can totally steal this idea if you want to, but I'm going to make up a new challenge for myself. And I don't want it to be something that can sort of be an accident. I really want to challenge myself to attract something into my life that like can only be the universe. It's not like, oh, I found, I'm going to find a penny. Like we could all find a penny on the ground. But I wanted it to be something that I felt like I would know the universe was supplying to me. So I come up with this idea. I'm like, someone is going to buy me a drink. I know, right? Like, okay. But I just thought, well,
Okay, just a fair warning, like everyone settle down for this story. This story is where it gets so cringe. And also, if you're an alcoholic or someone who is struggling with sobriety and you don't want to hear some sort of dumb story celebrating alcohol consumption, this story is not for you. It goes, and she's someone who said at her Rise conference, which was last year, that she was giving up alcohol forever and that it was so easy for her to give it up. Okay, just keep that in mind. And since she has talked about making cocktails, has shown herself drinking tequila, talks about vodka constantly. And I'm not saying she has a problem. She said that she's had a problem with alcohol in the past. I'm not saying that for her. I have no idea. But this story really is for someone who enjoys drinking and can find that it's a great thing, if that makes sense. You'll understand in a second when I play.
idea, like someone buying me a drink, that really doesn't happen in life, FYI. I'm not single. I'm not going out by myself. So I don't really have people buying me drinks. And I just thought, if that happens, when that happens, I'm going to know that this is the universe giving me like a wink. So I tell my boyfriend, I'm like, here's my idea. The universe is going to send me, someone's going to buy me a drink. And he's like, okay, can I buy you a drink? I'm like, you're so sweet. No, that's not the point. It has to be a stranger is going to buy me a drink. And I don't know if it's going to be coffee. Like I'll be in line at a coffee bar and someone's going to be like, oh, this one's on us or whatever. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's going to happen. So a day goes by and like 2 days go by and I'm like just sort of anticipating like, oh, where's my drink coming from? Like it's going to come to me. I know it. And on the third day.
Okay, write that part. She said she was thinking about, let's go back 15 seconds. She said, oh, I'm thinking about it. Like, when is my drink going to come? When is my drink going to come? She literally said that is not what you're supposed to do when you're manifesting. You're supposed to think it and put it out there in the universe and not have a timeline. Okay, so she's literally put it out there like in a week and says like, where's my drink coming from?
Whatever. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's going to happen. So a day goes by and like 2 days go by and I'm like just sort of anticipating like, oh, where's my drink coming from? Like it's going to come to me. I know it. And on the third day, I was reading some book and I don't know what it was, but it was talking about this idea of like what we're putting out. I think it was Louise Hay. If you guys have not devoured Louise Hay, she's the freaking grandmother of all of this conversation. God rest her soul. Like go listen to her stuff on Audible. Go grab the books. The first one you should start with is called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Go check that out.
I kind of want to read that book because I feel like it's going to be full of bad advice. Oh, here's a commercial.
About they'll be with you. And you get a matching that ZO realization. This.
Okay. We're back from Zola ad.
So I'm reading this book and something in it triggers this idea of like what we put out is what we get back. And I have this like realization, this spark of, oh my gosh, I need to buy someone a drink. I need to, like, if I want the universe to supply me with that, I'm going to buy someone a drink. What a fun idea. So I just sort of put that in my head. And that afternoon, boyfriend and I go on a date. And we go to this restaurant that we love and we sit at the bar and there's live music and we have a great time. And at this bar, the last time we were there, we had met this older woman. She's got to be in her 70s. And she goes and sits at this bar every single day. Okay,
so just to recap. So she wants the universe to prove to her that it's real, I guess, or whatever, that manifestation's real. So she says, okay, I'm not going to just find money because that's too easy. I already did that. I'm going to have someone buy me a drink. And it's going to be from someone that's not my boyfriend, her boo thing, her English boyfriend who is currently in Europe, in case you didn't know. But then she is waiting for it to happen in 2 days and she's frustrated or, wants it to come sooner. So she decides, well, I'm going to buy someone a drink and therefore someone will buy me a drink. Isn't that almost like what she does? I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's taking all, it's really not depending or relying on faith, right? It's setting up the scenario perfectly so that the chances of it happening are much higher. So for example, someone could hand you a lottery ticket, and you could be walking down the street and they just hand it to you, and it could be the winning numbers and you could win. That would be a huge universal sign that you somehow have been bestowed this gift because you are superior to everyone else, right? That would be a great test. If you go and buy 1 million lottery tickets every single day and win one, yeah, I guess you're lucky, kind of, but like the stakes were much higher in your favor. And I think same thing with Rachel. She was successful. She was lucky. She did work hard, but she also had a lot of capital from her husband and a lot of connections from her husband who happened to be in the entertainment industry for her to get successful to where she was. Same thing as this example she's giving. It's not happening for her easily. It's not happening. Someone's not sending a drink to her house randomly. So she decides to put herself in the scenario in which she is in a bar and now she's going to buy someone a drink and hopefully it's returned to her. And the chances of that happening in a bar setting, especially when you're sending someone a drink, is much, much higher. So is that the universe or is that just setting yourself up for success?
Okay, her husband's passed away and this is like her life. She sits at this bar. Every single person at this restaurant and this bar know her. Sometimes she has friends, sometimes she doesn't. But I mean, I'm sure this kind of person exists all over the world. It's just like her jam. It's what she does. And she sits at the bar and she makes friends. And it just so happens that the last time we were there, I was sitting next to her and we make friends, right? And so the next time I go, there she is. And this time she's here with a couple of older people her age and they're all sitting at the bar. They're having a great time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's the one I'm going to buy a drink for. She is the one I'm going to buy a drink for. Like, this is amazing. So
this has the opposite vibes, but very similar vibes of like someone in a restaurant being approached and saying like, God told me that I should pray for you. And it's like super uncomfortable. And you're just like, please go away. Please leave me alone. Like, God told me that I should buy you a drink. It's like, okay, the universe told me that I should buy you a drink because the chances of you. Oh, thank you, Jessica. Thanks for the sub. Yeah. Also, if you subscribe, you'll be on the screen. That's my new update as well. Yeah. Okay. Very similar vibes.
I tell the bartender, I'm like, hey, if I buy her a shot, will she do it? Because I just had this instinct that this older woman would get a kick out of someone buying her a shot. Because like, what in the world? And they were like, oh my gosh, she will love it. Like, she'll totally do it. She's wild. Like, you should get her a shot. So I was like, this is so fun. So I'm like, okay, you.
Okay, sorry, I know I keep stopping it, but just again, to recap this, she sees a 70-year-old woman who allegedly is at this Austin bar all the time. Every time Rachel goes, this woman is there. I would assume that she has a history of drinking. I don't think maybe she's drinking a seltzer water every time, but, most likely she's had a shot before, Rachel. She's 70 years old and she's hanging out at a bar. I think she knows what alcohol is. And they're like, oh, she's going to get a kick out of this. She'll definitely take a shot. It's like, what is this, middle school? Like, of course she's going to take, someone says you a shot. If you drink alcohol, you're most likely going to say thanks and take it and have a good time. If that's your thing. But she's acting like, oh, this is like a unique idea, like sending someone a shot. Like, woo, I never heard of that before. Wow.
Get a shot, like whatever you think she'll love. Get a shot. So I'm watching, like in anticipation, like Mr. Burns in The Simpsons, just like, like can't wait for her to get the shot. So I'm watching, she gets it and she's so confused. Like, what is going on? Where did this come from? Whatever. So I roll on down. I'm like, hey girl. And she's dying laughing. And she's like trying to do the shot, but she doesn't know how, whatever. And the whole time this is happening at the table.
The woman, this is all so fake. God, this doesn't even make sense. The 70-year-old woman who apparently, again, hangs out at the bar all the time, is trying to do the shot, but doesn't know how. Okay, that is step 1 and 2 of having a shot. Pick it up with your fingers and put it into your mouth and swallow it. I think anyone knows that. Even people who don't drink know that. That's how you take a shot.
Behind her is a woman who had recognized me and is highly possible she listened to this podcast because she said she was a fan of the podcast. I want to say her name was Ashley, but forgive me if I've gotten your name wrong, sweet friend. But earlier in the day, she had come up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, love the podcast. So grateful for your work." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you for saying hi." And I go over to sit with my friend who's going to do a shot. And it just so happens that the girl who had complimented me and said hi earlier was sitting at a table like behind her. So she's watching, being like, what is going on? Like, what is this older woman in her 70s doing a shot? Why is Rachel over here? What is going on? And everyone around us, bartenders, the older couple that was with my new friend, we're all just like cackling, dying. It was so funny because there's just such joy in the moment of being unexpected, right? So we have this great moment.
I don't get it.
It's so fun. She does a shot. She gives the greatest toast I've ever heard in my life. Hold on. I have to remember it for you guys.
I don't. Please let me know if you understand why this is hilarious. Have bars changed in the last 3 years since I've been in one? I stopped drinking 2 years ago. Well, almost more than 2 years ago. And before that, I wasn't in bars because it was pandemic-y time, I guess, or around that time, 2 years. Yeah. Have things changed? Is it hilarious now to drink shots? I don't know. I must be missing something here.
I want you to imagine, like, just in your heart, like, woman in her 70s, white hair, holding a shot, and she says, oh, okay, I got it. It took me a minute. I was like, it rhymes. What is it? Okay, so she holds the shot up, and she says, here's to those who know me well. All the rest can go to hell. And then she puts the shot. It was amazing. She was such a fireball. It made me so happy. We're all cackling. It's just like, this is totally joyful moment. I go sit back with Boo Thing. We're listening to music. And at the end of the night, the server comes over and says, oh, hey, just so you know, your last round was on that table. And she points to the gal who had recognized me from the podcast. So I just want you to track this for a minute with me, guys. I wanted to just get like a wink from the universe. And then I was reminded that the goodness that we put out into the world is what we get back. And another woman watched me buy a drink for someone just purely to delight and to send joy and just to give this woman a little moment of significance. She watched me do this, and then it was like a domino effect that then she bought my drink. It was that fast. And that's what I think is so amazing about the universe and amazing about the vibration that we put out. Because we think that it's supposed to be hard. We think that we have to wait for joy. We think that we have to wait for happiness or abundance. And the truth is, when you put it out, it comes back to you almost immediately. When it's from a purely joyful place, when there's no ulterior motive, when you're not doing it to get something, it's that fast. But the reverse of that.
Sorry, I muted myself when I meant to pause it. She literally did try. She's like, purely from joy. This is a purely joyful experience that I did nothing. She literally sets this whole story up as, I was sick of waiting for, I'm sorry, there's like mowing in the background. But she's saying, I was sick of waiting in a nice way for the drink to be delivered to her from the universe. So she decides to go out into a bar and then send someone a shot so that the universe would be delighted by her putting out the high vibes of drink giving so that someone would deliver it back to her. Isn't that the, like, trying to manipulate the system instead of manifesting, you're manipulating things? I mean, again, I don't believe in manifestation in that sense and the basic sense of the word. I believe, positive thinking, I think, probably will make you feel more positive, but I also think negative thinking is important and necessary for every person to do. But the way she's telling the story and the way she teaches this to other people, it's like you contradict yourself within 4 seconds. She's like, oh, I purely did this out of the kindness and joyfulness of my heart. And it was so joyful that this woman who's 70 took a shot. Like, okay, whatever, great, wonderful. Everyone clapped as I saw everyone said in the comments. Yeah, that seems like a fake story to begin with. But it's like, then you say like, well, that's how it works. It's like, but didn't you just not do it like that? So what's the point of the story? There is none.
Also true. Why does it matter if you know whether or not you are a mean girl, you have mean tendencies? Because if you are feeling like why does this feel so hard? Why is this rough? Why do I have friction with the people around me? Why do I feel like everyone's always mean, whatever? Because a lot of times mean girls are just they're like, I'm just reacting to other people. But what they don't understand is that their vibration is so low, that their vibration is so toxic, that they're actually attracting that toxicity back into their life. So it matters.
Doesn't that mean that all the mean girls in your life you've attracted because of your toxicity? I'm missing something.
I think that you want a better life. I don't think that you want to be this way. I don't think that you want to be this person, because it is impossible for you to be mean without that being the result of pain that is inside of you. If you're being mean to other people, however that shows up, it means that you're in pain. That's why it matters.
Okay, so how about you admit that you've been mean in your life too, Rachel, and at least you could then blame it on, well, I had pain in my life. But she won't even admit that she's been mean, especially in that TikTok where we watched, or that Instagram post that we watched when this stream first started, where she was pissed, visually angry that someone was critical of her privilege. And she believes in her heart, which I'm sure she does, that she doesn't have privilege, that she came from a poor background and worked herself to the top by herself alone. And that's what she really believes. But can't you not see that pain of knowing deeper than that's not true probably makes you mean too? But no, that's not where this goes. She doesn't have any self-realization about that. It's all about other people causing her pain and are jealous of her. And we're going to get into the jealousy part in just a second.
So let's talk about how mean girls operate. And again, I want you to be really open and honest with yourself about whether or not any of these apply to you. So the first characteristic of a mean girl, these are not in order, these are just as they occurred to me, is they are judgmental. Mean girls are very judgmental. They are judging other people for everything. She's judging you based on your outfit. You're judging her based on her religion, her sexual orientation. You think her hair looks funny. You think she's not parenting correctly. You think she's screwing up. You think that you could do a better job if you were given her opportunities. You think that she's spoiled. You think that she's entitled. Fill in the blank. It doesn't matter what it is. And frankly, it doesn't even matter if you're right. The judging hurts you way more than it does her. See, one of the greatest gifts I hope to give my children is autonomy over themselves. Autonomy over themselves, meaning I want every single one of my kids to believe that they can dress however they want, they can love however they want, they can believe what they want, they can be their own unique, beautiful, special creation. I care about their values. I care about their heart. I care about, are they kind to others? That's what I care about. I don't care if they have a mohawk. I don't care if their hair is green. I don't care if they want tattoos. I don't care.
So is that what mean girls are? They only critique you based on your religious beliefs and your appearance? Because if that's what mean girl means, I think, yeah, mean girls sound horrible. That sounds like pretty superficial and stupid. But is a mean girl someone who's critical of you because of your teachings, because of your business practices, because of content that you've put online? That's where the definition gets very confusing. And it continues to get confusing. I feel like she elaborates on and on, but it almost becomes farther to understand, or the understanding gets farther from being condensed down. It becomes like, and it could be this, it could be that, it could be all over the place. It's like,
That is an outside reflection of self-expression. I care about who they are on the inside. And the reason I want them to have autonomy over themselves is because I believe that when they have freedom to be who they are, they will automatically give it to other people. If you're on my Sunday email, if you get my Sunday email, you, a couple of weeks ago, probably read the email I sent out about my son turning 15. And if you're not, getting my email. I write an email every single week about my life, about things that are helping me, about my favorite books, about my favorite nail polish, like whatever. The link is in the show notes or the description of this if you're watching YouTube. Just sign up. It's a free email. It comes every Sunday. But I wrote this email about my 15-year-old, and he's just the most confident, amazing kid. And he's so himself. He wears nail polish. He does musical theater. He is so proud of who he is.
Thank you very much, Matthew Porter. I appreciate that. I think it worked, maybe, perhaps. Something popped up on the screen. Thank you very much. Oh, there you go. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, I'm sorry. The tech is not my big strong suit, so whenever it works, I'm very excited. Okay, continue.
Has been. He wears like crazy vintage clothes from the Goodwill. And like, y'all, we do not live in New York. He goes to high school in Texas Hill Country, which, if you're confused, is not a very liberal, like welcoming, and he's just his freaking self. He wears chunky rings and necklaces, like he's just him. It's beautiful. And not only is he himself, but he just is not judging of other people. Like, he's never like, oh, look at that guy's out. Like, everybody's allowed to be who they are. You're only judging if you feel that you do not have freedom. You are only judging someone if you feel in some way oppressed and constrained. Because if you feel like you're allowed to be who you are, you give other people permission to do the same. It's like, it's always amazing to me that people who are really conservative Americans tend to...
Okay, everyone batten down the hatches. That's the correct phrase, right? She's about to get political, everybody, but not for long and not really seriously. But she does get a slightly political in this moment.
Talk a lot about freedom, right? And they'll say, you know, this is a free country and blah, 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 blah. But those people often are really judgmental about people who are not conservative like they are. And the opposite is also true. The hypocrisy in like conservatives talking about being free, the free country, and then judging people who are trying to freely express themselves. And then the opposite is also true, because hardcore liberals are often so liberal about their freedom and being who they are and accepting of everybody, but they're so judgmental about conservatives. And this just pushes us further away from each other. And I think that the judgmental nature, I mean, it's always existed, but it's certainly worse now that people can hide in the anonymity of a comment section on social media, right? Like, it used to be that you sat at a table with someone, or you would like have beer together, or you'd be in class or around a dinner table, and you'd be like, I totally disagree with what you think. And they'd be like, well, I totally disagree with what you think. And then you'd talk about it like human beings, and maybe one of you would help the other one to understand your perspective, or maybe you just agree to disagree, but it was like a real conversation. This weird warp.
When? When did this magical time period happen when half the country didn't have the same rights as the other half of the country? Like, when did these magical meetings take place? In the 90s? I think, you know, people just ignored it more. People weren't as open about their political beliefs because there was no platform in which to do so unless you were extremely political. But doesn't that mean you're just secretly feeling a certain way and not expressing it? I don't know if that's much better. You know, saying one thing and voting another, or secretly hoping another group of people is oppressed in their rights. You know, at least now, because attention comes and people make videos and write things, and whether you agree or not, a lot of progress has happened since the internet has been invented, and that anonymity gives people a chance to express themselves in ways they were never able to. Yes, I think there's a lot of issues with the internet and how politically divisive it is. But I also think there's a lot of good things that come from it, and it shouldn't be just swept under the same rug of, oh, this is pointless, we should get rid of the internet. It's like, okay, then what? It's like people who say, like, I wish we could go back to the 50s. It's like, okay, there's a lot to think about there. There's a lot of things that happened in the 50s that were not great, except for white men. So do you mean that part, or you mean like the black and white TV? Like, what part are you in the milkshakes? You know, explain yourself here. And I think, yeah, this is also like, oh, back in the day, it was way better. It's like, it probably wasn't.
World that we live in, with social media now allows people to just judge like in a snapshot, right? Like I saw one thing and now I think you're an asshole. And I'm going to, by the way, let you know.
Thank you very much, Molly Salmon. I appreciate that very, very much. And I see your comment. Let's see. It was a pair doing a classic mic drop. Thank you.
And again, the thing that you're judging them for, remove it because it doesn't even matter. I know that this may come as a shock to many, but how someone else lives their life actually has no effect on you. This is what's freaking wild, so wild to me. I love you all. I love you all. I'm trying to talk from both parts of this. But what is forever so shocking to me is people who are have very conservative religions who will decide that how someone else lives their life is affecting them, especially.
Okay, now we went from political, now we're getting into religious. And again, I want her to address the fact that she was once very Christian and pushed Christian ideals of, going to church, dressing up the children for church, being a woman and a man married together in a home. I know she's been liberal about other things, sort of, on the side, fringes of being liberal. She's hinted at being liberal. She talked about, she interviewed Joe Biden. There's certain things that you can look at and go, okay, I know she's probably a Democrat. I mean, who cares really? She's not in the political sphere. It doesn't matter what party she votes for, whatever. But when it comes to this conversation, I think it is a little bit relevant that she was a fairly conservative Christian mommy blogger, and now she's like a new age hippie, but she has not explained what made her deconstruct from that, what made her change her beliefs. She's like left that out of it. She just assumes that you already know. She's always been a hippie. She's always wanted to do these things. She's always been new age, and doesn't explain the process in between leaving the church and where she's at now. And now she's just going to say like, oh, conservative religions are very oppressive. It's like, but you won't acknowledge that you were a part of one. It doesn't seem fair.
I mean, let's take Christianity. The number one tenet of the Christian faith is love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor as thyself. But let's just take love thy neighbor is where we
Thank you, Paige. Love thy neighbor. I appreciate that.
start. That's a foundation. That's the call to arms, right? Love thy neighbor. Not judge thy neighbor. Not tell thy neighbor that they're doing it wrong. Because how she's living, how she's mothering, how he's voting, who he loves, doesn't actually affect you. And frankly, if you're obsessing over the judgment of other people, I have to wonder if it's easier for you to judge them than it is for you to look at your own heart. Because usually what we're judging someone else for is something that either we are jealous, which I'm gonna get to in a minute. We're jealous because on a core level, we want the thing that they have and we don't have it. Or there's something in them that is a reflection of ourselves. We're judging because we see something in them that hit me funny. And so I'm going to judge because I'm trying to separate myself from having to look inside.
Okay.
That what BetterHelp has been
Skipping the BetterHelp ad.
under 48 hours. Video or phone sessions, all offline counseling. 10% off your first.
So long. Yeah. I see your comments. Yeah, I don't know what middle schoolers relating to these conversations about back in the day. Things were better politically. And again, we're back to if you're mad at something, it must be a reflection of yourself. I mean, yes. Okay. So for example, I obviously have some anger towards Rachel Hollis's message and her teachings. I don't know her as a person, and I don't claim to know her as a person or have any sort of opinion about her as a person. But since she has branded herself, her life as a brand and as a business, I have every right in the world, in my opinion, to criticize that. I can criticize McDonald's. I can criticize Domino's Pizza. I can criticize Reebok shoes if I want, because those are all brands and companies very much in the same way that Rachel Hollis has made herself and her story and her own life lessons a brand. She's selling them. She's putting BetterHelp ads on her own story. So to me, I'm not judging her as a person because I don't know her as a person. Thank you, Diva Tested, Diva Approved. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But it doesn't mean that I hate myself. I may hate myself for other reasons, but it's not because Rachel Hollis has the life I want, and that she gets to get a massage, and that's why I'm being critical. There's tons of people. I don't talk about Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian has multi-billions more than Rachel Hollis ever will. And I have nothing really to say about her because, she doesn't give out life advice all the time and write self-help books about, what you should do as a person in this country or in this world. So I don't have that much to say. Toxic positivity, I was affected by it. I think I was going down the wrong path with toxic positivity, and that's why it matters to me. But it doesn't mean I have this gaping wound that I'm not acknowledging. I think both can be true. Two things can be true at once. I can acknowledge that I have some pent up issues regarding toxic positivity, and also, as Rachel would say, and also I can criticize her and say to other people that, yeah, this message is not, sanitary. This message is not PC, or I guess it's PC, but it's not the way that I believe that people should believe. Just as much right as she has to say that it is the way people should think. So if there was never critics, just stuff would run rampant. There'd be no checks and balances. So unless you believe that there should be no checks and balances, then, I don't agree with her method about, it must be something wrong with you then if you have a problem. It's sometimes there's just a problem.
By visiting our sponsor, betterhelp.com/rise. Join over 1 million. It doesn't do anything with their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp,
Hurry up.
HELP/rise. But the bottom line is the judgment, it doesn't do anything for you. If you want to get biblical, because I'll quote scripture with you all day, preacher's granddaughter, judge not, lest ye yourself be judged. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. It's not serving you. And unless I'm not mistaken, hold on. Gabby Bernstein does have a book called Judgment Detox, which I have not read, but it's what popped into my head if you feel like this is you and you want to work on judging less. Okay, the second thing that
read this book that I have not read if you want to learn to judge less. Can't give an endorsement because I haven't read it, but definitely read it. It's she wants to cheer in the Rach Talk video that we'll watch after this too. She talks about Gabby Bernstein and actually shows a book. It's why is she so far up her ass? I don't get it. I mean, I do get it because she wants to have Gabby Bernstein be a part of her Rach Spirit Guide conference, I'm sure. But I don't know if that's the best way to do it. Just organically advertise her stuff and say her name on your own podcast. Why don't you just pay her to be there?
When it comes to Mean Girls is asking yourself, what's the root cause of this symptom? Do you understand the difference between a symptom and a root cause? A symptom, a headache is a symptom. My back hurting is a symptom. Now, you can treat a symptom, right? I could take some Advil for my back hurting or for my headache. But because I'm not treating the cause of the backache or the headache, because I haven't stretched or because I didn't have enough water, because I didn't get enough sleep, there's all sorts of reasons why you could have a headache or a backache, right? If you don't treat the root cause, we'll just be back again here tomorrow, treating the symptom. So the symptom is mean girl status, but the root cause is something deeper. You don't get to be a mean girl without there being pain inside of you that's unexpressed. So that actually is a really maybe grounding place for us to step into for a moment, for you to understand that having this conversation or exploring this topic is not from a place of shame. Is
there one person in anyone's life out there watching, is there one person in your life that that doesn't have any negative feelings at all? None. They don't have any. Because otherwise, we're all just tortured souls on this planet trying to, hurt each other because of our own hurt egos. And what are we supposed to do about that? If that's true, everyone in the world is like this, and we all have this problem that we need to fix, this root cause issue. I'm, like I said several times during this, this one live stream, is that I'm in therapy. What else can I do? Never have a negative thought again, never express my, feelings unless that's in support of something. What's that going to provide anybody? Just to an empty shell of a person? And someone mentioned this a way back in the comments, but I totally agree. It's this is the equivalent of women should just smile and be pretty and shut up. It's I think Rachel, as a woman advocate, is someone who's supposed to be championing women. And she talks about this at the end, about how she's a champion for women and the sisterhood and blah, blah, blah. It's like we should not be afraid to express ourselves regardless of positive or negative outcome or positive or negative perception. As men express themselves a lot. Not all men, but a lot of men express themselves. A lot of women do too, but a lot of women express themselves in a very positive way or tend to be more like, toxic positivity. In my opinion, I feel more women tend to gravitate towards that type of teaching. But men, I feel like, are more comfortable saying, and these alpha male podcasts, as disgusting as they are, they're not afraid to give their opinions. And I think there's a place for that for everyone, that we should not just let people spew out negative opinions and then you have a negative opinion against that opinion, and you feel like, well, I can't express that because, I don't want to be negative. It's like, again, the checks and balances. A lot of people out there have no problem saying hateful stuff all the time. And you could then say something hateful about them saying something hateful. And I think it balances it out a little bit. It reminds people that they're not in a vacuum where everyone believes this, It's like going to a rally or political rally or something, seeing everyone just like chanting the same thing. It's only the people who then criticize those chants and say, whoa, that's not okay. That's really toxic, to make it feel like, okay, not everyone in the world feels that way. If those people weren't there, then it wouldn't be balanced. So I don't know what person, she needs to give it a definition like Jesus Christ, but even Jesus had negative feelings about taxes and about, things going on in those times. And I'm not trying to get biblical. I don't even know the Bible. I know the basics. I don't know much, but I don't think, Jesus is seen as this like, oh, he's a holy, never has a negative feeling thought. That's not the Jesus that I learned about. He seemed to have pretty human feelings at times. So I don't know who she's referencing as this like perfect positive person every second. Okay, sorry. That was a long one.
Like you have mean tendencies. You shouldn't feel shame about that, because that comes from something. Whether it's something that you've done to try and protect yourself, whether it's unexpressed anger inside of you, whether it's fear, whatever the reason, there is one. But if we can get to the root cause of this, that's where the real magic and the real transformation will happen. So one of the emotions that can be a root cause is jealousy. Jealousy. You're jealous, like at your core, you don't even want to admit it to yourself. You're jealous. And so that jealousy manifests as judgment, manifests as talking crap. But really what's in your core is feeling jealous. Years ago, I did a podcast interview with this woman, and she was interviewing me, and she actually said something really honest. She was like, when I saw your book come out, and your book, she was talking about Girl Wash Your Face. She's like, when I saw Girl Wash Your Face explode, I just hated on you. Like, I talked so much crap. I trashed it to my friends. And she said, I did that for several weeks, and then I had to ask myself why I was doing that. She's like, I realized I was jealous. And I realized that my jealousy came from knowing in my heart that I could also have written a book, that I wanted to be an author, but that I wasn't doing it because I was scared. So rather than admitting to myself that I wanted that thing too, I decided to hate on you, to sort of mask all of those feelings. Because if I can point my finger outward, right? Like if we can point at someone else, we don't have to look at what's going on inside. She's like, the beauty of that story was that she is now an author. Like she had done this work, she had unpacked what was going on, she found the root cause, and then she took action against it. But
So Rachel writing a book, and this woman, this fantasy woman being jealous of her success, actually helped this woman become an author because she unpacked the issues at hand and she ended up becoming an author. What a wonderful story. And then everyone clapped. Okay.
Is usually pointing to a thing that we want. The other thing that jealousy points at is this belief that this is all a zero-sum game. A zero-sum game means that you believe on some level that if I'm winning, then you can't. Or you believe that if your sister is succeeding, there's less left for you. Or anytime you see someone and you feel those jealous pangs, that somehow it means like you're not going fast enough, your success isn't big enough, it's not going the way you want, like they're living the life that they want, or they got a partner, or they got a man, or they got that dream job, and like, what about me? Like the jealousy, we never really look at what the jealousy is telling us. Oftentimes your jealousy is actually an amazing gift. Your jealousy is pointing you toward what you actually want. Your jealousy on like a core level, you wouldn't be jealous if you didn't like, if that really wasn't your hope and dream as well. So your jealousy, first you have to recognize that that's what it is. Because there's a lot of people out here who will not even call it jealousy. They'll just talk a bunch of crap about everybody else and what they're doing and what they have and how it doesn't work and how it's wrong and how that thing isn't, it's so stupid. Take a deeper look and understand, I mean, why would you even put that much energy? Why would you waste that much energy caring about what they're doing or what they have? Turn inward. Use that energy on yourself. Use that energy on your hopes, your dreams. Push your desires forward. You know, I love that. I know I quote it all the time, but one of my favorite quotes is from Tony Robbins. He says, where focus goes, energy flows. You're putting all your focus and all your energy into hating on someone else, into being jealous of someone else. Of course you have no energy left, no focus left, nothing left to give your own dreams and your own hopes. The thing is, guys, someone succeeding at anything should be an indication to you that you can also succeed, right? Oh, so there is hope. So there are people who do this. So there is a way, right? Like it's not a pipe dream. It's not something I made up. Like, look, there actually is someone doing that thing. That's awesome.
Okay, so and thank you, Kitty. Oh, there he goes. I knew it was coming. Thank you very much, Kitty. That little dancing dinosaur is very happy. So this is the part where I was like, is she talking about me? Is she telling me, girl, stop being mean to me? Because it seems like this kind of is in the vein of, okay, I do spend a lot of energy, I will admit, I think it's quite obvious, analyzing Rachel. And sometimes I think like, is this wrong? Am I insane? Like I do want to understand her so much. And when I have these conversations, get the whole picture. So I think it's important to read her stuff, listen to her stuff, watch it on a consistent basis, have the background solid so that I can talk about it in some sort of educational or informational way where it's not like I'm cherry picking my, things about her that I don't like and leaving out the good stuff and just, almost confirmation biasing myself. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, is this a good use of my energy? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it is, because she is the perfect example of why this industry is a problem, why self-help generally has so many flaws and leads people down a rabbit hole of feeling never good enough and trying to strive for more, made for more, blah, 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 the tenets that Rachel Hollis became famous on. So, it's not as much, like I said, Rachel Hollis, a person. It's Rachel Hollis, the brand, and what her brand represents to the greater marketplace of why we have these, issues. Caitlin Amanda, thank you. So, when she's saying here, she's talking about, why waste your time? Why waste your energy? Because it's important to me. I don't know why it's important to me necessarily. I don't know why some people think, playing video games is really important. My fiance loves video games. He's obsessed with them. He plays them every day. It's important to him. He'll watch people play other games on Twitch all day long. It's his passion. He loves it. He makes video games on the side for fun. I can't relate to that. I don't understand why, but for him, it's such a big deal. And I think that's great. But you don't have to understand, like, if he doesn't like someone who's a Twitch streamer or something, I'm not going to say like, oh my God, well, he must have some hurt in his heart, the reason why he doesn't like this specific It's like, no, people have preferences. People have things that they care about. And I think it's important to have, something that you're caring about that's outside of working all the time and what your family's doing, what your friends are doing. You have to have something for yourself too. So I'm going a little off topic here, but I just think this message is not applicable to most scenarios. If you're obsessive in the sense of like you're a stalker, That's something completely different, but I feel like this is the example that she's using, almost like as if someone is so obsessed with you that they're showing up at your house. Not that they, read your book and didn't like it. Those are two different extremes, and I think she's focusing on the more extreme one. Let's continue.
There's so much to go. The world, it's infinitely abundant. There is so much abundance to go around. I promise you, your jealousy is wasted energy and you're missing what it's actually trying to tell you. Another big one, I would say possibly the biggest characteristic of Mean Girls is deep insecurity, which is probably going to piss off some Mean Girls. But there is no bully on this earth that isn't deeply insecure. There is no mean girl on this earth that is not trying to cover up the fact that deep down inside, she's still a scared little girl. By the way, lots of...
There's not one human being on this earth that's not deeply insecure too, I think. I think that is a human trait, because especially when people are watching you, that's why people are afraid of public speaking. That's why people are afraid to show up and do something new, because they may not be accepted. That's part of survival. You had to be accepted into the group. There was, communal living way back when. And if you didn't work together, you weren't going to survive. So I think, everyone's a little insecure, if not deeply insecure, a little insecure. I don't think that's a mean girl thing. I think that's an everybody thing. Let me know what you think. And I don't mean it like deeply insecure, like you have to hate yourself. But I don't think most people don't go out there and say, I am perfect in every single way, except for maybe Rachel, which I think comes from insecurity herself. So, yeah, I don't think being, insecure is necessarily a great thing, but I think it's something that we all deal with.
We're scared little girls. We don't take it out on other people. But it just so happens that however you were formed, however you were parented, whatever came at you, created this. And again, this is not from a place of shame. We're not having this conversation so that you can feel shame. We're having this conversation so that you can search your heart and you can make change. What are you feeling so insecure about? Let's even take it a layer back, because insecurity is just fear. There's really only two emotions in life. Really. Every emotion can be boiled down into one of two things: love or fear. That's it. So what are you really afraid of? Do you have imposter syndrome and you're afraid of being found out? So your personality is so over the top and so big and in other people's faces, and you're pointing out other people's flaws because you don't want anybody to see your own flaws, right? Like, what's really going on? What's the fear that's under there? Because if you can look at it, whether that's something you do by yourself, whether you do it in a journal, whether you get therapy or counseling to unpack that, there's fear there. And even if you're a mean girl, you deserve love and care and support as much as anybody else, maybe more so, right? So if you can understand what the fear is, then you can start to get help for it. But attacking other people, however that manifests, whether it's behind your back or passive aggressive or trying to be funny or just being straight up mean or controlling or whatever, it's not going to give you the feeling that you want. It's never going to fill the void. It's never going to fill the void for you. See, the only antidote to fear is love. And this is really freaking hard to do. But the answer to all of this is that you love yourself. And loving yourself is not a light switch, right? You can't just flip it on and then all of a sudden everything's great. Loving yourself is a practice. Most of us were not taught to love ourselves. So why on earth would you know? And that's not something to shame your parents, because they probably also weren't taught to love themselves. But loving yourself is the same as personal freedom. If you have personal freedom, you extend personal freedom to other people. If you love yourself, you love others. The third thing that I see with Mean Girls is...
I'm so confused, because it's like, she'll bring up like personal freedom. It's like, don't you give people permission and freedom to express their negative energy too? But then that's not okay. So you're only giving people personal freedom to wear mohawks and be positive. Okay.
Projection. And this is only something that I've really started to understand over the past couple of years, but it's a really good thing to look for, not just in Mean Girls, but for people in general, any sort of relationships you have, other people projecting their feelings onto you. So when it comes to Mean Girls, projection kind of shows up in the same way, remember earlier when I was saying, like, you see something in them that you don't like about yourself, and so you're sort of calling them out, but totally ignoring the work you need to do on you. Projection is when you are taking your feelings and your thoughts and projecting them on someone else. So this happens often, like in a relationship. You'll be like, oh, is my partner mad at me? And really it's like that you're mad at them. Or you're like, oh, does my best friends, like, I don't know, they're not calling me, they're not talking to me, whatever. Like, are they feeling disconnected from me? And really it's that you feel disconnected from them. So you, rather than acknowledge your own feelings, you project your feelings onto the other person. And hopefully you have a conversation about it, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people just go like, yeah, I'm probably right. I'm going to believe every dumb thing that I think, right? Most people make the mistake of believing everything that they think instead of understanding that you get to actually separate truth from fiction. Dr. Amen says you don't have to believe every stupid thing that you think. And projection is a big version of that. You don't actually have to believe those stories that you're making up in your own mind.
Yeah, you don't have to believe everything you think. I think that's, decent advice. But also, she would think that if you believe every positive thing you think, then apparently that means it's good. And if you believe every negative thing you think, that's bad. And that's where I start to go cult, manipulation, MLM, join our business type of mentality, because it's like, it's not allowing you to critically think. Having a negative thought of making $100 while spending $300 in a, Avon or Herbalife or whatever, they don't want you to critically think that that's not a good deal, right? But if they say like, be your own boss and try hard and work harder and personal development and all these buzzwords, then, oh yeah, like go for it. Great, wonderful. That's a positive. But the negative thoughts are there to protect you, to warn you, to give you insight into, this may not be the best choice for me. Reading her book and taking the advice of staying with a man who, treated you badly in the beginning of your relationship. And then, he apologized and they got married and wonderful. That was Rachel's, story in Girl Wash Your Face about Dave, that he didn't treat her very well in the beginning. And then they got married anyways. Okay, so that advice, she looked at the positives of him and it lasted for some time, but look at them now. Look at the train wreck that became. So I think warning signs, negativity is probably more positive for your life generally than a positive thought convincing you to buy something that you don't need to buy. Oh, we got more commercials.
This title, or are you just feeling blah? takeabreath.com/what-to-do.
I don't even know what that commercial was for.
I have someone in my life who I only realized recently is a huge projector. And
okay, so this next part I think is her talking about Dave, but also possibly talking about Heidi at certain points. So let me know what you think and I'll let it play so you can kind of get the whole context.
And I caught them doing this with my kids, talking about my kids. So I have had my kids full time since the beginning of the year. And it's been awesome. Like typically I split up time with their dad and that's not something that's possible right now. So they've been with me full time and I love it. I'm obsessed with my kids. I think they're so fun. And don't get me wrong. Like I definitely have days where I'm like, ooh, I need a break. Like I got to go on a business trip last week for 2 days, 1 night for an upcoming podcast that was amazing. You guys will hear more about it later, but I got to go away. And it was beautiful. It was a nice little break and I'm super grateful that I got to do it, and shout out to my niece for hanging out with the kids so that I could go. All of that to say, I've had them full time and it's 4 kids and they have a lot of activities and I'm working from home, like just all the things. It's a lot. And whenever I would talk to this person, they'd be like, oh, like, I'm sure you're going to need a break. Like, I'm sure you're so over having the kids, or I know this is really hard. They kept saying these things. And at first I thought that they were being caring. And then after like 3 times of it, I finally called the person out. And I was like, I just want to make this clear. I'm not over having my kids. Before I got divorced, I was with my kids full time. I'm a mom. And it's hard, but it's also beautiful. And it's my number one mission in life is to raise good humans. And I have so much fun. Like, I love this. And I also think that we have to be careful about people projecting onto us, because if it's a really strong influence in your life, or if it's like a loud character, this person's not a strong influence, but they're a loud energy, I think it can warp your perception of what's actually going on in your life. I'm not over my kids. I'm not overwhelmed by my kids. I'm not tired of being with my kids. I love this. And what I realize is that person who's talking to me, they are overwhelmed by parenting. They are feeling over it. They are feeling like it's too much. And they're trying to put that on me to sort of like make it equal, and it's not. And it's a mean girl tactic. Make no mistake, because you're taking your own stuff and trying to shove it on her. And not only are you trying to shove it on her or shove it on him, but then the brilliance is that now you can judge them. So we're right back up to judgment. So you're projecting and then judging, and really it's just all your own crap. Yeah, that's all I need to say about that. If you're not...
So, what did you think? At first, I thought she was talking about Dave because, and maybe she is. Maybe it's a twofold issue because let me go to my website. Hold on. Let's go to Dave. Oh, wait, I can't do it on here. Stand by. We're going to go to Dave Hollis's apology message that he left when he left the internet, allegedly, or left... Instagram, at least. He's been spotted on the fitness account, Fit with Heidi and Dave group account or whatever. So in their Facebook group. So he's not off social media completely, but oops, let me go to Dave Hollis, not Heidi. Heidi is so last week. Okay, so if we all remember Dave's message to us, he made a jab at Rachel, and I think that was her addressing it. Let's see. Where is it? He's like, Rachel. Okay, here it is. So page like 5 of his 25,000 page I'm leaving the internet message. Thanks to Rachel for the immediate voice of support when I called 3 weeks ago, and the quick offer to lean in with additional time with the kids. I know this is hard for you. So I think, that was a jab at her because Rachel's expressed that, taking care of children was not her number one goal in life, that she wanted to have a life outside of having her kids. She's made that clear. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that was his way of saying, like, I know this is hard for you because you want to go be girl boss away from, me. And I think he probably, according to Rachel, has the support of his own mother who thinks women should stay home and take care of the children. So that's probably, his mom was a stay-at-home mom, so that's how he was raised, blah, blah, blah. So I think her saying all that was a response to that specific Instagram because it pissed her off. And also probably because Heidi always says that she is overwhelmed 1,000 times a day with her children and that she needs a well-deserved break from her kids and that she hides up in her room, locks the door sometimes when her kids are home. If you watch her Instagram stories, you'll understand what I'm talking about, that I'm not just like making this up. It's fairly, I followed her for a year now since her and Dave got together, and it's been the same story. So that was my thoughts. So it's interesting because it kind of flip-flops. Like it's almost like Heidi said something to her through Dave maybe about, I don't know, and maybe she's just watching her stories and putting the pieces together, but that little section I think was about Heidi and Dave. Oops.
If this is the first time you've heard someone talk about it, I'd really encourage you to do some research and just to understand the psychology behind it better, because we do it to other people. Like 100% I have projected on my boyfriend before, and he's the one who's like, do you really think I'm doing that, or is that what you're doing right now? And I was like, oh my God, I am. Thank you for breaking me apart. But also, projection is something that people use to manipulate you, whether it's intentional or not. So be conscious of what it means and how it shows up in your life. The last thing that I thought of when it comes to mean girls, this one is almost more a psychological thing, but it really shows up. And I have to be honest, I would say that the most awful girls and women I know, and I don't know if you guys would agree, because maybe you have different perception of this, but the most awful experiences I've had with other women are this personality. And that is the person who tries to control everything. And the person who tries to control everything, typically if you are into Enneagram, it's an unhealthy 1. So they're a perfectionist and they want to control the world around them because they want to make it perfect. And the problem is that's impossible. So when it doesn't go their way and they can't control it, they freak out and they're awful to everybody. They make everybody miserable. Because life can't be the perfect way they imagine it, then everybody has to suffer. The other Enneagram I see this show up in a lot is an 8. The 8 is a challenger. So they tend to try and control the situation in a challenging way. And the beauty of 8s is that they've become a challenger because they're trying to protect either themselves or other people. But that dominating persona can really overwhelm a personality that's not as strong. So trying to control everything around you is impossible. And you're not only making yourself miserable, you're making other people around you miserable too. And usually it's over situations that should be joyful. Going on a date with your partner, throwing your kid's birthday party, the holidays. You like have this image in your head of what it's supposed to be like. And the beauty of a situation like that is like whatever it is going to be awesome if you have the right mindset. But unfortunately, control freaks have decided that if it doesn't look a certain way, if it doesn't show up a certain way, if it isn't exactly how I imagined it, then it's all garbage and screw this. And they're pissed.
This is someone who wrote an article for HuffPost about how much she hated her wedding because it was so tacky because they didn't have $1 million budget. That's Rachel. This is someone who criticized her own mother for buying her box cake and, you know, making Velveeta cheese dip or whatever, as opposed to buying an elaborate cake from Cold Stone or whatever for her birthday when Rachel was a kid. I mean, again, I would be fine with this. If this is your mindset and this is what you want to teach other people, fine. But address the older things that you used to talk about and teach and say why you've changed your mind so that in 2 years when you change your mind on this again, we can understand your thought process. Because I'm open to flip-floppers. I think flip-flopping is okay. I think changing your mind is okay. I went from toxic positivity girl, wellness is so amazing, I love experimenting with wellness, blah, blah, blah. Like that was me, to now being like, whoa, I saw how harmful, how like dumb it was in a lot of ways because I wasn't looking at the differences of economical differences between people, and how like I was looking at these people who had, you know, trust funds and thinking like, wow, they seem much more relaxed than me. So weird. It must be my, you know, vibrations are off. It's like, no, idiot. They don't have to work like you do, you know, and people think that about me. Like I have a certain level of calmness because I don't have to go out into a field and, you know, pick fruits all day. Like we all have different things that affect our mood and things, but you have to be transparent about it to understand where you fall on the spectrum. If I know someone's relaxing at home all day and then they come out and they're happy, okay, great, I understand it. It makes sense. It's like if I can find a way to do that in my life, then I'll also probably be more relaxed. But what's like with Rachel, it's like you never know how she gets from point A to point B, so you never know like, okay, so do I align with her now? Do I not? It's hard to tell. So she's wrapping up here. We're almost to the end.
And they're mean and they're hateful. This personality or this situation to me ends up being a lot more in your face. This isn't the passive aggressive. This isn't the behind your back. This is the person who will absolutely tell you all of the ways that you are failing to live up to their expectations of you. And the gall, if this is you, if you recognize this in yourself, with the love in my heart, who do you think you are? You do not get to control everyone else's experience. You are only in control of your experience. Now, look, yeah, you're a mama, let's say. You do make decisions for your children, of course you do. Or you're in a partnership with someone. You do have understandings that you've committed to, like, here's what it's going to be. But what you're not trying to control values here. You're not trying to put up guardrails to keep someone safe. In this scenario, you are trying to control their experience. And maybe it's because you believe that that's the task that you've taken on. Maybe you think like, oh, I'm responsible, got to make sure everyone has a perfect holiday, or I have to make sure this birthday is perfect, or I have to make sure that this date is so romantic and, you know, we fall more in love and then we have 4 hours of sex later and like it's all the great, like you make up this story in your head, and maybe it's because you believe you have to. And the freedom for you in this situation is to remember that you are only in charge of your own experience. And the most beautiful thing will happen if you let go. Like if you let go and really just work on enjoying this present moment that you're in right now, it permeates to everybody else. That energy spreads to you want to have the best Christmas ever? You want to have the greatest birthday party ever? Have fun. I was a wedding planner for a decade. I used to tell brides and grooms, they'd always be like, oh, we just want people to have fun. And like, what do we do? You know, how do we make sure that the DJ and how do we make sure the band and how do we make sure people have fun? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the easiest thing in the whole world. If you want your guests to have fun, go have fun, because everyone's watching you and that stuff spreads. It's why half the restaurant was cackling with laughter, so joyful, watching this older woman do a shot, because we were having the best time. It spreads. My sweet Enneagram.
No one was laughing or cackling, unless they were laughing at Rachel. being drunk or something, because I don't understand how a woman taking a shot is hilarious still.
Enneagram 8 perfectionists. You don't have to figure it out for everybody else. Don't buy that myth. Don't listen to the voice in the back of your head that tells you you're responsible for everybody else. You are responsible for you. And if you really want to teach your children to be happy, to experience joy, practice it in yourself.
This does not all seem totally judgmental and mean. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with what she's saying, that, you know, you should control other people and whatever, but still, doesn't this mean that she has some sort of thing about control in her heart? That's why she's being so upset about someone out there being mean to her and trying to control her. Her whole brand is a contradiction. This whole statement, this whole thing is like all over the place. It's getting worse. It used to at least be on topic. You know, try hard, go to church, drink water, like things that I think are kind of like, whatever, throwaway tips, but at least it was like the same tips, the same vein. This is just like, I don't know what to do. I'm just like getting my therapy out there. I'm just spitballing here all day. That's what it seems like.
Your desire to control the situation, to control your family, to manipulate everybody, to make them how you want them to be, makes people hate you. That's the truth. Those people,
that's the truth,
who are so toxic about control, hey, we might keep showing up to the family functions, but that's out of obligation. That's not out of joy, right? That, like, at some point people start to pull themselves back from you. And the worst is, God bless, when that happens, you feel it. You don't know what's happening, but you feel it, and you try and hold on tighter, and you make it worse. You are not in control of someone else's experience, and you don't get to take it out on them when they don't react the way that you think they should. If you want love, then you have to give love. If you want joy, practice joy. And, the last thing I'll say about this, like, for real,
telling someone that people hate them is pretty mean, regardless. Like, maybe someone needs to hear it, but also I think that's a mean girl thing to say. And it's not very empathetic. It's not very compassionate for her to tell whoever it is, because obviously she's saying she understands that bullying and whatever comes from a place of hurt. That's her opinion. Comes from a place of hurt and pain. So to tell someone, well, the reason you're acting like this, people hate you and we're only here for obligation. It's like, yikes.
This is hard work unpacking this stuff. Every single one of us have issues. We have issues that are inside of us. And I believe that we are on this journey and this path in our lives to unpack and figure out why we do things the way we do. How can I strip this away and really be left with what matters? How can I really get to who I want to be? And that oftentimes is not something that we can do alone. This may be a beautiful journey for you to go on with a therapist or a counselor. Or if you feel like you can take it on yourself, there's so many books that you can read about this, other podcasts that you can go listen to, other teachers that you can learn from. But whatever is making you lash out at others, or lash out at your husband or your girlfriend or your best
Thank you, Amanda.
friends, that comes from a place of pain. And I don't want you to live in pain. And I don't think you want to live in pain. And so I want to challenge you to do the work. And you don't have to figure it out today. And you don't have to know every answer today. But it begins with you starting to ask questions, and with you becoming conscious of the times that you're being mean to other people, even if it's just inside your own mind. Because if you have that self-talk, like if you're speaking negatively in your own mind about her, my God, what are you saying to yourself? You deserve a better life. You deserve to be out of pain. So I hope that
everyone hates you, and I'm only coming to these family functions out of obligation. You deserve to be out of pain. Okay. Quite the dramatic turn. I don't know who she's talking about. It sounds like a mix of everyone that ever has hurt her feelings in her life, but probably more so Dave and Heidi as a combo. I don't know who she's speaking about, but whoever she's speaking about sounds like she's got a lot of unexpressed anger that she's dealing with, which is fine. But yeah, and also for the record, therapy it's expensive. It sucks that you have to pay for it in this country and probably every country, that it's really out of reach in affordability for most people. But if you have insurance and you can get therapy, traditional, not life coaching, but therapy, do it. And it's a totally different experience because you are speaking your story to someone and getting feedback as opposed to reading a book or listening to a podcast. There's zero comparison. They can work hand in hand, I think, maybe, if you're listening to the right podcast and books. You know, someone who's more open-minded and not like a very straight and narrow positivity only. But I don't like when people apples to oranges, like therapy or listen to a podcast. Totally different scenarios. It's like going to CVS and getting a Band-Aid and going to the ER. It's not the same experience.
You're hearing this and something that I'm saying is resonating with you, that you'll look for help. And I know there are times in my life I could not afford to go to a therapist, but you can go down to the library. Don't roll your eyes at me because this is what I did for a long time. You can go down to the library for free and start reading books that help you with this topic. And one, little layer at a time, like an onion, you unpeel. And each piece, each scrap that you take off yourself, you get a little bit lighter and you feel better. And the beauty of that is that as you're learning, you're also teaching, just by action, a better way to live. I hope that today's episode was helpful. I hope that you heard a little nugget that you felt like you needed or that maybe someone you know needs. If you dug it.
Wouldn't that be so passive aggressive to send this to somebody that you know? Like, here, girl, you need this. This is for you. And the title is, Are You a Mean Girl? That would, in turn, make you a passive aggressive mean girl by sending this to somebody that you think needs it. Okay, so that was number 257. Are you a mean girl? Question mark? Capital G. Okay, so that was the newest piece of content that she has released. Rach Talk? Time for Rach Talk? I think so. I watched it already, so it's not going to be as authentically me like last time when I did not know that she was planning to start a music career. That was quite the shock, and I discovered that on the live stream, so it won't be as exciting as that moment, but I watched this last night. It doesn't have very many views, and I think that makes sense because it wasn't that juicy, but there are some interesting tidbits, and I think a lot of talk about her boyfriend, her boo thing, and again, showing some red flags that their relationship is not, in my opinion, what it looks like from what she shares, doesn't look that strong, especially for only being together for a year, and we'll talk about why. All right, and I'll look at the comments real quick. Okay, perfect. You're all still here? Thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, let's do it. And this is episode 3 of Rach Talk of this season, or whatever she's doing, like cutting them up into different seasons. I think she's cutting them up into seasons because she's going to have a live event that she's got to sell tickets for. And so once she sells tickets for that, then the Rach Talk will go away and it won't come back until she's got something to sell for again. And there's a lot of sales in this one. It's coming off as odd because it's not like a hard sell, it's a soft sell, but I feel like it's prepping everybody to be ready for the hard sell on like episode 5, where she reveals like, hey guys, got a little thing. Everyone's been asking me to have a live event. And I said, no guys, I hate live events. And then I did it anyways because you guys wanted it, not me. I'm innocent. Okay, that was me being a mean girl. Sorry. I can't change it in 1 hour. Sorry about that. Okay.
Maybe that's the intro. Hey guys, welcome to Rach Talk, my weekly show where I talk about anything and everything, and today has a lot of it. We're talking documentaries, we're talking mountain climbing, we're talking the year anniversary of being with my boo thing, we're talking about Jeffrey, he's on drugs, it's fine, I'll explain later. We're talking about some of my favorite books. It's a whole show, you guys. Get ready. Hey guys, welcome to my home and another episode of Rach Talk. I'm going to start us off with a bit of it's not a warning, it's a sort of an awareness. It is very windy today in Texas Hill Country, and I have wind chimes. I love wind chimes, so you may hear the ethereal sound of wind chimes gently swaying in the breeze. And Jack, who's running sound, doesn't like the wind chimes, but he also doesn't like joy or puppies or children. So he's just going to have to deal with it. But in case you're wondering what that was, it's not angels. It's the chimes. So
I heard nothing. I heard silence, but okay.
Jeffrey Hollis is here today. Oh, crap, he heard his name. I should have spoken code. It's like talking about Schmalexa when you know, because she woke up. I was trying to cover it, and I didn't cover it very well. So he's here, but he had to have doggy surgery last week. He had doggy dental surgery, which, in case you're curious, costs as much as a used Miata. But he's our dog, and we love him. We got to make sure he's okay. So he had, Jack, you're probably like, don't even talk to me about how much medical bills for dogs cost. I mean, Jack has a beloved dog.
Just for a second, I wanted to address this. Yes, Dave, she made a TikTok that she deleted instantly because people were like ripping into her. And she deleted her TikTok completely after this scenario. But yes, so she said, my ex-husband hated wind chimes, so I was never allowed to have wind chimes. But now that I live in my own house, I get to have wind chimes. And people were like, weren't you hosting marriage conferences? What? Okay, lady. And she deleted her whole TikTok because of that. So yes, you're right. Dave apparently, allegedly, according to Rachel, hates wind chimes. So maybe that's some sort of subliminal message to Dave, I guess.
We all love him. He's getting on in years. And the work you guys have put into you and Sarah are my definition of people who like their dog is their child. Like, it is your child. And so you're like, oh, is it $1 million and my own spleen to keep my dog okay? You'll do it. So this guy had dental surgery, and he has pills that he has to take, and they make him so loopy and so high. And there's a part of me that wants to try one. Like, I just want to see, just to know. No.
That's how every drug addiction starts. Okay. No one starts a drug habit by just you wanting to become a drug addict. Let me just say that. And I'm not saying she means it, and she's going to say, like, I don't mean it. The rumors are going to be spread about me, but is it a joke? Is it that funny? Not really. I don't think.
Start spreading a rumor that I do, canine drugs or what.
It says ketamine is so in right now. I didn't see that last time. Well, I don't get who is this for? Who's gonna, like, people who watch Euphoria? Is that supposed to, like, understand that or something? I don't know. It's like, let's laugh about drugs. Okay, I guess, but okay.
Whatever. But anyway, he's here. He's either going to be sleeping or, like, standing awkwardly staring at nothing. But just know that's what's happening with the big guy today. All right, let's get on to important topics like, I already forgot what my list was. Oh, you may or may not know that I am a huge fan of documentary films. Someday I'm going to make one. Jack and I have an idea. We're going to work on it.
I'm sure the idea is autobiography about my life. That's just like a spitball idea that it's probably going to be that, because everything else she's created has been some sort of basis on her life. Even her fiction books were about her own life. They were based loosely on her life. So I'm sure the documentary is going to be about her life. Just a guess. Just a spitball.
But I'm a huge fan of documentary film. It's my favorite genre because I just feel like it's entertaining and you're learning what's not to love. Let's start with a movie that is happening on Netflix right now called 14 Peaks. Okay, Jack, you've seen 14 Peaks, obviously. Nicole, have you taken it in? Well,
I don't know who Nicole is. Nicole is a new add-on. Jack has been there for a long time. And also, in the podcast, the person who used to edit them, Sterling, which I think is a woman, is no longer on there. And I said that she was on LinkedIn asking for, looking for a job. So it seems like that, maybe she's done, that was true, because she's no longer on the podcast editing at the end. So I meant to mention that the last time. Okay, let's go.
Get your hearts ready.
Okay, I don't want to get copyright strike, so Basically, it's a thing about hiking. Let's watch it, whatever.
Giving up is not in the blood, sir. It's not in the blood.
I guess my first foray into climbing, / my only foray into climbing, is a documentary called Free Solo. Free Solo came out several years ago. Jack will know he's a climber. This guy named Alex Honnold, that just came, where did that come from? I don't even know. So this guy decides to climb the side of a place called El Cap in Yosemite, which is this huge rock surface that people have climbed, but he's trying to do something called free solo, which I did not know before I watched the movie means no ropes. No ropes. You're not hearing me. No ropes. Meaning what is holding him to the side of a freaking mountain are his phalanges and his toes, okay? His little, and not even like not like a this grip, okay? There's times where he's holding on to the side of a mountain like with fingertips. It is so stressful. But what actually was very inspiring to me is that he practices over and over and over with ropes so that he knows exactly how to climb to get to the day where he can do it without ropes. There is a line in that movie I will never forget as long as I live, that when he's like trying to figure out like why he is the way that he is.
It's such we'll find out also that her boyfriend, the guy who's from England, if you didn't know, he's also in Europe for a few weeks. In case you didn't know, I didn't know if I had mentioned that or if she had mentioned that in the last 5 seconds. But he's a climber. She doesn't talk about that until like the end. But like, oh, I just happened to watch this climbing documentary. Not so much. It's because, well, I shouldn't say it's because, but it just so happens that her boyfriend is a climber. Thank you, Erica. Welcome. Sob gang. Unite. Okay. So she's talking about the documentary still.
And he says, I remember being a little kid and my mom's favorite quote was, good enough isn't.
Okay, wait. I like buried the lead here. Let's go back for a second because this is a very important part.
Practices over and over and over with ropes so that he knows exactly how to climb to get to the day where he can do it without ropes. There is a line in that movie I will never forget as long as I live, that when he's like trying to figure out like why he is the way that he is, and he says, I remember being a little kid and my mom's favorite quote was, good enough isn't. And now he's this like crazy thrill-seeking, climbing mountains, whatever, and I was like, that is the most stressful thing I have ever heard in my life. Like parenting, I mean, okay, on the one hand, her thing did make Alex Honnold this like incredible climber, but on the other hand, I felt so sad for little Alex, and I wish I could go back in time and give him a hug and be like, good enough is good enough. Some days good enough is good enough, and other days we try a little bit harder, but like,
This is coming from someone who made a video in her car, and she's like, I had to pull to the side of the road to tell you guys that this meme about, all I did today was breathe and that's okay is stupid. This is stupid. Okay, I need to bring this up. I'm sorry. I know we're going to be going off tangent a tiny little bit, but I think this is very important because it gives you context about how different Rachel is over time. Okay. And I remember watching this, and this has been used in a bunch of different, critiques about Rachel, but it was like her in a car on the side of the road when she was like, just breathing. Okay, here. Stop saying you don't have time. This one? Okay, let's fast forward because it's like a whole vlog. All right, is this it? I'm so sorry. Okay, hold on. At least you can watch me find this. Stand by. Let me bring it back. Okay, I believe it's this one. Does anyone know? Because she's in the car and she's like, this meme just drove me insane.
Of your dream life, or scrolling and looking at other pictures of people's lives that you wish that you had. Your attention is there, and that's where...
Okay, maybe it's not this one. There's another car one. Come on, Rachel. I should know these by heart by now. Okay, I think it's this one.
Speaking, and we're meeting with... Breathe.
Yes, it's this one. Okay. All right, everybody, buckle up. Okay, you remember what she just said, right? In 2022. This is 2017, so it's been a few years, but, good enough.
Day.
Oh, I'm just going to let this play. I know I'm really beefing this up right now, but okay.
Out of my computer. I wanted to go on this little rant real quick before I go into the office. I don't want to sit in my office and do this because I don't want the staff to hear me like yelling at a camera, you guys. But I saw this thing on Pinterest. I love quotes. I love quotes that inspire people. And I think that I had checked like motivational quote. And I saw this, which it's probably silly to, Jack, we'll show them what I saw. But what it says, what this pin that had been pinned thousands and thousands of times was, sometimes it's okay if the only thing you did today was breathe. I gotta talk about it. And I run the risk of super offending people who that pinnable resonates with. But here's the deal, you guys. Whatever you believe is true is true. When you were a little girl, or when you were a little boy, you likely, if you're like most kids, you believed that there was a magical man who lived in the snow, who could see if you were good, who could see if you were bad, and one night of the year, he brought you presents based on his knowledge of you. He brought those presents because he was flown around in a sleigh by magical reindeer, and then he fit himself down your chimney or through your window.
She's a little mean and angry here.
And he brought you gifts. You used to believe that when you were little, that was your truth. So if you fill your Pinterest boards, and if you fill your mind, and you fill your computer, or you put on your bulletin board crap like that, that becomes your truth. I know that there are seasons that are hard. Believe me when I tell you that I have personally lived through stuff I don't even want to talk about. I know that there are days where it's harder than others to put one foot in front of the other. I know that there are people out there, there are parents out there right now who have lost children. My parents were a couple of them, but they didn't lay down and die. They didn't say, today is it's all I can do to breathe. Screw that noise. You are capable of whatever you think you are capable of. And my guess is that the people who are putting all I could do today was breathe on their Pinterest board are not people who have lost a child, are not people who are fighting cancer. They're people, I'm going to get myself in trouble, but they are people who want an excuse for why they didn't chase the thing. They want an excuse for why they keep giving up. They want to tell themselves, they want to encourage themselves that this life is so freaking hard that there are some days where I can't do anything. That is a lie. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people all over this world right now who are battling disease, who are battling in extreme pain, who are living in poverty, who are living in oppression, who every day get up and keep fighting and keep taking steps. So don't you dare fill your head and fill your life with justification for not doing anything, because it's crap.
There are days that are going to be hard.
Wow. So motivational. Wow, that was so motivational. That's what this is called. Motivational rant. Quite the different tone. Let's go back again just to hear what she believes now, and tries to make it seem like, oh my God, this is so crazily different than I would ever believe in. It's like, this is pretty much, that mother probably watched your video and told her son that. I mean, the timeline doesn't make sense, but I could see the mother watching that video in 2017 telling their son, good enough is not okay. You can't just be, you must be better. And then now the guy's got to like climb up a mountain with no ropes to feel like he's doing something. I felt that was important to bring up the past because it's not that long ago. It's not like this is from 1985 and, okay, well, she's a different person. This was 2017 that was posted. So within what are we, 2022? Within a 10-year span, or less than 10 years, she's changed her tune quite a bit.
To get to the day where he can do it without it. There is a line in that movie I will never forget as long as I live, that when he's like trying to figure out like why he is the way that he is, and he says, I remember being a little kid and my mom's favorite quote was, "Good enough isn't." And now
the quote was, "I just breathed. At least I breathed today." Dun, dun, dun.
This like crazy thrill-seeking, climbing mountains, whatever. And I was like, that is the most stressful thing I have ever heard in my life. Like parenting. I mean, okay, on the one hand, her thing did make Alex Honnold this like incredible climber. But on the other hand, I felt so sad for little Alex. And I wish I could go back in time and give him a hug and be like, good enough is... Good enough is good enough. Some days good enough is good enough. And other days we try a little bit harder, but like, ugh. Anyway, watch it. It's amazing. Okay, so I had watched that movie and Netflix and the algorithm was like, oh, she likes climbing documentaries. Let's show her other things. So I keep getting this advertisement for something called 14 Peaks. Whatever, I don't know what I'm going to do on a random Saturday night. So I'm like, let's watch this. So this is a guy who decides to climb the 14 tallest mountains in the world, which had been...
She really learned a lot from this documentary. It was so informative, she's forgot all the facts and why it's impressive or important at all.
Done in like the 70s, maybe? Some guy had done it, but it took him 7 years. This guy says, not only am I going to climb these 14 peaks, but I'm going to climb it in 7 months. Amazing. You should watch it. It's so inspiring. It's a really good reminder. It reminded me of... Jack, please later edit this so that there's not space and I sound intelligent. Will you look up who first ran the mile in under a minute? And as soon as you say his name, I'm going to be annoyed because I'm going to know it. Okay, so here's the story. I promise. I'm going to wrap all of this up.
Apparently there's someone might be adding that in later, but it sounds like someone's there in the room.
In a beautiful little package for you guys. In 1953, a man named Roger Bannister ran the mile in under a minute. Here's why that matters. Until 1953, in the history of the world, we never had recorded evidence that a human being could run the mile in under a minute. People thought it wasn't possible. So Roger Bannister...
She got this whole thing wrong. The Jack guy had to like correct it. I remember hearing it. I didn't see these texts under here before. I guess I was like more listening the first time I heard this. It's like under a minute. How in the world could you possibly run a mile in under a minute? I felt like really inadequate. I'm like, oh my God, like 1 minute? How? That seems crazy. So instead of reshooting this or cutting this part, because it really is totally irrelevant to anything going on in the world, they left it in, and he had to go in and like change it to say like under 4 minutes, which makes a lot of sense. Like, okay, 4 minutes seems more reasonable. Seems obviously very fast, but more reasonable than 30 seconds or whatever. But it's like, just take a minute to Google it before you do, like write a freaking thing in your journal about what you're going to be talking about. Like have some reference point so that you're not just like chaotically, and I know they do it like, cause it's supposed to be loosey-goosey fun. This is so funny. You make a little joke about everything, which is fine. That's a style. But I feel like you just waste everyone's time because you're not actually giving them accurate information half the time. It's like, be better.
Works on it, figures it out, runs the mile in under a minute. So from the beginning of time to 1953, no recorded documentation of anybody doing this. Within 6 months of Roger Bannister running the mile in under a minute, it was something like, what does it have that information? 50 people, 60 people, 1,000 people, 1,000,000. I don't remember the number, but basically all these other people did it. Nobody believes something's possible until somebody proves that it's possible. Like Alex Honnold free soloing El Cap, or this guy seeing the other man climb 14 peaks and going, hey, maybe I could do it, and maybe I could do it in less time. All of that to say, I love watching documentaries like this because it's so inspiring to see what humans are capable of. And it doesn't mean that you're going to run out and decide to climb a bunch of mountains, but it may just inspire you to do something that you don't currently believe that you can do. Watch these documentaries. I know you're going to love them, but here's something I learned watching 14 Peaks. The inspiration, the beauty, the shots, the mountains, whatever. Did you know that if you're climbing Everest, if at any point y'all are climbing up the side of a snowy mountain and you can't keep going, they leave you to die.
When you are in the mountains.
I'm going to skip past this part.
And I like coming upon bodies. They're in the movie, they're telling about like coming upon bodies or like finding people that have been left behind. And I like freaked out. And my boyfriend was like, oh no, it's a thing. Like you made the
Hey guys, she has a boyfriend.
decision to climb a mountain. It's like an agreement with everybody and with the mountain is that like because if they try and help you off the mountain, they'll die too. In fact, there's a terrible movie that Boo Thing made me watch called, I think, Everest. Have you seen that movie? Spoiler alert, everyone dies. Everybody. Everybody in the movie. The heroes of the movie. The people you're like, they're not going to die. Dead. Dying. Just dying left and right. What are you all doing? I think there's two types of people in this life. There's the people who are like, I got this. I'm climbing to the top of the mountain. I'm taking a picture and putting it on Instagram. All the likes, right? I'm going to do it. And then there's the people that like, oh, if I climb Everest, I'm going to die. Guess which one I am? Dead. Oh, okay, guys.
That was like fairly funny. I thought that point was kind of funny. If you remember too, and I think it was a Dave interview, but they were talking about climbing a mountain together, and he said that Rachel left him behind and that he could not tolerate being left behind by Rachel, that it inspired him to go because she was like, peace, I'm not waiting for you like to catch up. So if you're going to come, you got to come now or else we're leaving. It was called like, I don't even know what it's called, 3-7 something. It was like different elevations or climbing the height of Mount Everest in a day or something like that. And he got faster, stronger, better he got tattoos because she inspired him so much by threatening to leave him behind on the mountain that he had to like walk up the mountain stronger, faster, or stronger, better, or whatever he says. Apparently he's got tattoos. You only see the one about the shibs that he talks about, but he's got other ones apparently too.
Guys, I feel like I want to cut my hair. All right, now, I know not every woman does this, but I definitely am the kind of person.
Also, these comments are killing me. I'm sorry if I'm laughing too loud that it's like cutting off the video, but they're really good.
Where I need a change and I get sort of, this would be a really funny moment, Jack, perhaps to just show like some of the atrocities of my hair over the years, because you know it's intense. But a couple of years back, I cut like to here, and the other day, you know how your phone like serves up photos like, oh, remember this moment in your life? So it served up this photo of me with short hair, which I'll send you, Jack, so you could reference it here. And I was like, that was really cute hair. So I'm thinking of getting a little chop. Here's the thing though, and this doesn't matter, but it sort of does, like a baby tiny bit. And I'm just gonna say it and like whatever. My boyfriend really likes my hair. Like loves my hair. In fact, okay, so it was just a year ago this week.
Okay. So now we've reached the part of the video where Boo Thang boyfriend's brought up again for a longer period of time. Now she's going to go on to explain that she's going to cut her hair, whatever. And she's going to go into an explanation that I think is totally weird. Now, you don't have to agree, but I'm going to critique this from a weird perspective. Thank you, Stephanie. Woo. I need to activate some sort of song so that it cuts on a song and I can do my little Rachel Hollis dance. Thank you. Oh God, I'm getting loopy now. It's like I'm also in a standing desk, so I stand while I'm talking. So after a while, my legs start to feel like they're gonna, break underneath me. No, it's good. But I think that starts to get loopy as well. Okay, so she's going to talk about her boyfriend. In case you didn't know, just want to recap everybody. Rachel does have a boyfriend. She doesn't speak about him much, so it's very under wraps that she has a boyfriend. And he is English, and he's currently in Europe right now. I don't know if she's, said these details. I just know a lot about her, so that's why I know, but we're going to get, into that a little bit. So she's going to reveal some things. That was me being facetious, but tell me this story is not weird.
1 year ago this week, we met.
Okay, so she's talking about her boyfriend. Let me go back a little bit.
Photo of me with short hair, which I'll send you, Jack, so you could reference it here. And I was like, that was really cute hair. So I'm thinking of getting a little chop. Here's the thing, though, and this doesn't matter, but it sort of does, like a baby tiny bit. And I'm just going to say it, and whatever. My boyfriend really likes my hair. Loves my hair. In fact, okay, so it was a year ago this week, 1 year ago this week, we met for the first time. And he's not here right now. He's in Europe for a couple of weeks. So he wasn't here.
Sorry.
And your girl, Rach, loves an anniversary.
Rach.
Am I the only one? I celebrate everything. I celebrate the sun. Do you do this too? Okay, what is up? And I don't want to make
Rach is the only person that celebrates anniversaries, if you didn't know.
sweeping generalizations about gender, but what is up with you boys? I was like, oh my God, baby, a year ago today, I sent you our first text message. And he was like, cool, but did not care. And unbeknownst to him, I had arranged for a very elaborate, the elaborate nature of what I did, you guys. So
Now, this is not from when they decided to become serious. This is from the day that she texted him first.
Worked with his best friend in Europe, and I was like, okay, he's gonna be there on the day. Such a loser. I'm saying it and I'm realizing what a loser I am, but I'm like, okay, he's gonna be there on the day that I first sent him a text message. It's been exactly a year. Could you grab a bottle of champagne? Because he and I love champagne. It's like a celebratory thing. I'm like, can you grab a bottle of champagne? And then I'm gonna write a toast that I want you to read when y'all are having the champagne. And she's like, yes, I got you. We'll do this thing. I just wanted a nice bottle of champagne. And I told you in last week's episode, if you recall, please show a flashback, or 2 weeks ago, whenever this was, Jack, that the English people, the British people, the European, they're just, what I say, they're a little bit more official than we are. So I say to his friend, I'm like, can you grab a nice bottle of champagne? I have an idea in my head of what that is. So she's like, oh, I got it. Here's his champagne. I shit you not. Bleep out that cuss word, Jack. I shit you not. She's like, this bottle of champagne is stored at the bottom of the ocean. Okay? Stored at the bottom of the ocean. The bottle's covered in barnacles. It's been there for 30 years. It's blah, 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 and blue. And I'm like, that sounds great. That's a good option for us. And then later, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing this. Send me a Venmo invoice or whatever so I can pay you back. And I got one. And, again, Jeffrey could have had dental surgery. That's the level I'm bringing it at, okay? Why did I even start this conversation? What was I talking? Oh, thank you. Okay.
What? I don't know, man. Everyone's got their thing. I'm probably one of the last people to want to celebrate anything, anniversaries, Valentine's Day. I do it out of somewhat obligation because I feel like you're supposed to do those things. I don't know. I feel like it's a little commercial for me, but I don't want to offend anybody, especially my fiance who I love and care about. I don't want to offend him, so I do it. But I feel like my feelings are more towards I don't care. It's not really that significant. What matters is every day we love each other. We treat each other with respect every day. Who cares about these fake holidays that people in, corporate America have invented? But I just thought it was odd. Number one, that, okay, he said he didn't care. So that would be my reaction too. Oh, interesting. We texted a year ago. Interesting. The fact that she's secretly planning stuff with his best friend, who sounded like a woman, which was interesting. It sounded like, I don't know, maybe I got that wrong. But it sounded like his best friend. Okay, she's going to buy a bottle of water from underneath the ocean. It almost seems like a joke, perhaps. This is how I read it. The best friend thought it was silly that they were supposed to celebrate the texting anniversary, so much so that she sent over something to read out loud for them to read while they drank champagne that came. And then so I think as like a spoof, maybe like the friend was like, yeah, I got this really expensive champagne that you can buy at the bottom of the ocean, so he or she could drink it, and thought it was almost kind of like a joke. And then Rachel went along with it because she's not like self-aware to know that that was a spoof. It just seems weird and like really over the top. And you just got out of almost 2-decade marriage. If you didn't, I don't know, you could, it's just weird. It's just weird to try to make it like such a serious relationship so quickly. Like they really didn't even get to know each other for, less than a year from this point ago. They didn't even know each other that well. And now she's changing her hair, and she's like mentioning him a lot, and she's watching climbing documentaries because he likes climbing. It just seems so many red flags on her part. I haven't heard from him. He doesn't go on social media, so who knows what he's up to, but like based on her version of events, alarm bells are going off. I think I have a that's the red flag warning. We should just play. I'm going to play that every time that there's a red flag.
He likes my hair on Valentine's Day because he wasn't here for Valentine's.
Also, I see someone's comment. Yes, let these kids relax for a minute. They got to now celebrate another anniversary with another guy. They already have to deal with Dave and Heidi and their blended family fantasies. And now, like, Rachel's so in love with this other guy. It's like the kids have just, their lives have been flipped upside down. And they're young kids. They're all within, ages of living at home. I cannot imagine having to go through all of those emotions as a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old, however old the other ones are. That's a lot to deal with. And then your mom is like already preoccupied and dating someone else. And, good for her. Good for Dave. Do whatever you want. But like, that's still, I think, a lot to handle, no matter how well adjusted and how much nanny support you have. It's still a lot to deal with.
Day, I did wake up and he had written me a poem. He's like a beautiful poet. He had written me a poem.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
And he was like in Switzerland at the top of a mountain where he had climbed. Oh, all this climbing's coming together. And he's like, baby, it's a voice note. He's like, baby, I'm at the top of this mountain. It's Valentine's Day. It's this day of love. And I wrote a poem for you, which if it would not destroy him with embarrassment, I would play the audio for you guys, but I won't because he would be just devastated. But in it, there
have some privacy. God, please. I'm glad. She's like almost like and it's like she's proving to us, the viewers, to validate her. Like, oh, I would play. Like, it's not even that we, if we don't believe her, who cares if it's real, whatever. But she's even validating, like, well, I would play the audio, but I won't for his sake. It's like, okay, we believe you, whatever. I'm sure it's wonderful. Just keep your privacy to yourself. You don't need to share this. It's not monetizable content. I mean, it is, but look what the mess you got into before.
There's several lines about my hair. So I was like, oh no, he's definitely gonna not want me to cut my hair. So I think I'm just gonna do it and not tell him. Be like, can we talk about vintage?
That was me. That was me. She's gonna just cut her hair and not tell him because he wrote a poem and several lines were about her hair. How about your personality? How about your kindness? How about your heart? How about the way you love your children? No, just hair, just hats, vintage. Okay. Red flag. Okay, sorry.
Can we talk about like flea markets? Can we talk about that? Of course we can. No one's going to stop. One of the things that consumes the most water in the world is the fashion industry. So it's massively impactful on the environment to make clothes. And obviously, if we keep buying clothes and they'll keep making them, and it's just a cycle that never ends. And even though I'm just like one little person, I thought, you know what? I love vintage. I love a thrift store. I grew up shopping at the Goodwill. I think you find the greatest things. I have no weirdness about that. I'm going to make a choice for myself that I'm not going to do this anymore. So my boyfriend and I did it together. We committed to not buying anything that's new, with the exception of a couple things. One, chonies, okay?
She already gave this exact speech already. I already know that her chonies, which I was told, I did not know that chonies was a slang term for underwear. And I searched it really quickly and I was like, oh, it's an English thing that they call them chonies. Apparently that was totally wrong and I messed that up. So I'm very sorry if that was something that you listened to, that I said chonies was English slang. It's just slang generally. It means underwear. I did not know that. I've already heard this whole thing. This is like, again, reused content that was like from 2-3 weeks ago when she was saying how bad Dave was as a double life Dave. She was talking about her chonies, that she was going to only buy vintage from now on. It's like, I think you probably most likely have enough clothes. You don't need to buy vintage. You can just buy nothing. But, whatever.
I'm not wearing someone else's underwear. I can't. I'm not. Workout clothes. Do you wear chonies with your workout clothes? Me either. I think most girls don't do that. Jack, do you wear chonies with your... You're just free. Just being free. Okay, right. And if your junk's rubbed inside that, I don't want my junk rubbing inside that. You know what I mean? Okay. 2 things that I have purchased since I started this are this shirt and these pants, which are just little slack moment. Sorry that my knee popped like an old woman. Don't worry about it. This I got at a flea market. Oh, I'm having like crazy deja vu right now. Whoa. Like I feel like I dreamed this moment like 10 years ago. If you're going to dream a moment 10 years in the future, you'd think it would be something really cool, like meeting Oprah. But no, it's just hanging out with Jack in my house, talking about my shirt. Anyway, this I got at a flea market here in Austin, and this I got at a thrift store that's so cool in Brooklyn. I want to remember the name because I just loved it. Hold it. It's called something street something. You stay at the one hotel, and then you just like walk down the street. Fleet Street. Front Street. Yes! Front Street General Store. If you're in Brooklyn or around Brooklyn, this is not...
The girl off camera should have a show. She has all the information, apparently, that Rachel should consult her before she hits record. Or because this is not live, she could just reshoot it, but she chooses not to for the manufactured authenticity of it all, I suppose.
Not an ad. It is the coolest store. Every little thing is just curated so beautifully, so I recommend that one. And Nicole did ask my favorite vintage place here in Austin, Texas, and here's your answer. Best prices, best quality place in Austin, Texas is a thrift store called Avengers. Now, I know that is a weird name for a thrift store. It has nothing to do with Marvel, but it is so great. It is so well done. And a lot of times when someone has that much good stuff, it's insanely expensive, and I feel like their pricing is fantastic. It's off of Burnett Road in Austin. Not like downtown, it's like a bit north of...
What I remember, this is a question from Laura Wallace. Thank you for asking this question. From what I remember, she said she got a coat from Sears, which was a new coat. She brings this up in a recent podcast looking back at her childhood, and she says that she was so grossed out by it that she hated her coat and she didn't like it because it was too poor for her, or it was too low class for her, and she hated it, and she didn't like that her parents got her this ugly coat. So I don't remember exactly. I know she said she did thrift shop out of necessity. She says that a lot, and she almost says it, in a negative tone. But I don't think she made a huge point about thrifting being bad. But she also had a new clothing line at QVC. So this is a change into that. She was selling Rosa Parks T-shirts on her website up until recently. Rosa Parks and Frida Kahlo and someone else on her website, obviously not vintage. So she's part of the problem. I mean, she was manufacturing them or getting some place to manufacture them and selling them through her website. So, I think this is also, I think she said at one point that this was her boyfriend's idea too, that he's super healthy, he's super eco-friendly, and that they had decided together, and now she's kind of taking credit for it, seems, but they had decided together to not buy new clothes.
Of downtown. just down from the girl who gives me bikini waxes. So sometimes I get a little rip, and then I go and do a little shop. Oh, man. Oh, bikini wax is really hard.
Is it weird? And I don't want to judge her too harshly on this because I feel like, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But is it weird to laugh that hard at your own joke, especially when it's like there's two people in there and they're silent? She's like, like, it just comes out. They need to play music or something, or like cut it a little shorter, because like it just seems 2 seconds too long, and it makes it feel uncomfortable for me about how funny she thinks she is about that. Like, to say like, I went and got a wax and shop. Like, okay, that's kind of funny, but not like hysterical, unless someone else was laughing about how funny it was. Just like to laugh in silence, it just seems weird.
Have you ever had one, Jack? Oh, it's exactly like that scene from 40-Year-Old Virgin.
¿Cómo se llama? No, Kelly Clarkson!
Okay, now let's talk about what I'm learning. Okay, the thing that I am obsessed with, that I have been learning.
If you couldn't tell, she changes locations. This is editing 101. Oh, hold on, let me not watch that again. She's like sitting and she like turns on purpose. So they must have pre-planned this. They can pre-plan the turn, but they don't pre-plan any of the information she's going to be delivering. So half of it is unusable.
Okay, now let's talk about what I'm learning. Okay, the thing that I am obsessed
Didn't
with,
see you
that
there.
I've been learning about for the last year, is manifesting and the law of attraction.
We know.
The idea that we attract into our life the energy or the vibration that we put out. And I did a 2-part podcast about this that was so popular with listeners, so I just want to make sure you know. You can start with episode 227, and I talk you through the whole process about how to think, about how mindset works, about some challenges that you can do to see how this actually works. It's one of the most popular series I've done on podcasts in a while. The other thing is that when I posted those episodes, so many of you wrote in, sent me DMs, sent in questions to our customer service and said, Rach, I want to learn more about this. What book should I read? So I wanted to tell you guys the 2.
Back to Rach again. That second Rach of this video. The other one was in the podcast, Rach. That seems to, I'm telling you, it's all, in my opinion, it's all manipulated. It's meant to, start this branding subconsciously. Rach. And also, she always blames not blames necessarily, as a strong word, but kind of blames her followers for wanting this type of content. So then she can't be held responsible. She's like, you guys just kept asking me about manifesting and wanting more information, so I had to do more, as opposed to she's pivoting her brand because she's already burned a lot of bridges in the other space that she was in. And now this is her like last option until she figures out something else. That's her choice, as opposed to my viewers were begging me for this content, so I just had to do it. It's like, no, you didn't.
2 books that I think are really great when you're starting this process. So the first one is the thing I recommend to everybody when you're just beginning to try and figure out what it looks like to manifest things in your life, and that is Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein. This one is a really great way to look at your entire life through the lens of what you attract. Now, if you read Super Attractor and you love it and you're like, what's next? I want to go to the next level. This one's a little bit more intense, so just prepare your heart for that. The Law of Attraction. This one is by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And the reason I say this is a little bit more intense is that Esther Hicks is someone who is interpreting messages from an ancient spirit, it's very hard to explain, but if you read the book, it will make a lot of sense. It sounds very woo-woo, but...
Okay, I'm going to say something offensive myself here for a second. What is the difference between mental illness and manifestation? If you are receiving messages from ancient spirits, you may want to go to a doctor. That's all I'm going to say. And I've said, I'm going to say this in an upcoming video that I'm recording the script of, but if you claim to have above human abilities, yet you charge earthly prices to have it be done, like have you perform it, you're most likely a hustler. And not a hustler like, I'm a hustler, I try really hard. You're a hustler like you're trying to pull a hustle on somebody, in my humble opinion. Prove me wrong, I'll change my mind, but yet not one of these interpreters, people pulling things down from source energy, pulling things down from God's word or from, ancient Egypt, whatever they get their material from. All they want to do is have information that doesn't need to be backed up by anything because it's coming from a different source other than yourself. So if you're not a credible figure, like I'm just like, Rachel doesn't have a college degree, not the biggest deal in the world, but she can also then say, she's not saying this, but she could, well, source energy told me, or my spirit guides told me that this advice would work for you. It takes away any element of having to prove that you're a credible source. You're saying that the sources came from infinite wisdom. How convenient, right? And I know that is like kind of controversial in the sense of, religions and things, but that's my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion, so that is what it is. And I think it just leads people to believe things that are completely out of this world, unbelievable. And I'm going to talk about her at some point, but Teal Swan is a huge person that does this type of thing and says like, oh, thank you, Ash, for subscribing. Says like, oh, the gods told me this, or the universe told me this, and then just says this horrible advice. It's like, dangerous. And she gives dangerous advice. Okay, back to Rachel Hollis. Sorry, I was off topic.
But it's so good. Everyone I know who's interested in manifesting or law of attraction is obsessed with this book. So check out these two if you want to learn more, or go listen to the entire 2-part episode in podcast. If you haven't heard of it before, a few years ago, I made a journal. It's called the Start Today Journal, and it's based on a practice that I've done for a decade. I would open up a spiral-bound notebook or my daily journal, and I would write down things that I'm grateful for and goals that I wanted to make happen. And I wrote...
Hold on, let me go back for 1 second. She covers it. I make something speaking fee.
Things that I'm grateful for and goals...
Okay, I am an exceptional mama. I am a New York Times bestselling author. I am an exceptional wife. Eek! So what? Does the first two manifested correctly? The third one doesn't want it anymore. My events sell out arenas. Doesn't happen anymore. My books
that I wanted to make
are available somewhere. Rise is the best event we've ever done. I am an exceptional mama. I am a New York... Okay, we got it. So sometimes it comes true because of manifesting, and sometimes it doesn't because of manifesting. Explain that to me, Rachel, as well.
Make happen. And I wrote those goals as if they had already come true. And I did this for years. And it was so helpful in keeping me focused and creating traction and moving forward. And I did it forever, and I would show it on social media, and people kept going, what are you doing? What is that? Explain it to us. And I kept saying, gosh, you could do this. Just do it in your journal. It's not a big deal. People kept saying like, oh, this should be a thing. This should be a thing. And finally we made it a thing. So a few years ago, we launched Start Today Journal, and it has been so incredible. But what is my favorite part, when I am so overwhelmed and humbled and proud of, are the stories that come out of the process. So women and a few men all over the world work on goals using this journal, gratitude and goal setting every single day. And we hear their stories. When they achieve...
She also has the higher pitched voice again. She went down low when she was telling her story. She was high in the beginning, went down low. Now she's back to like, hey guys, I'm just like asking you a little favor. Just buy my book and watch my videos about manifesting. She's like back to like very sweet and calm Rachel.
A goal that they've been working on inside of Start Today, we call it an STJ Dreamcatcher. And I want to start sharing those stories with you because they're so inspiring. I think we get confused into believing that goals are something that only happens for other people, right? Or they had resources, or they had a connection, or they had help. And
all the things that people say about her, which is true in my opinion, that they're true, that she had all those things. That's what she uses as her examples of what other people think. Okay.
Really, every single day, people all over this world, mamas just like you, students just like you, husbands just like you, kids just like you, are achieving incredible things.
Kids? What kids?
They're inspiring themselves and their families, and they're doing it with this. So this week's STJ Dreamcatcher is a really cool story. I want you guys to check it out.
Big goals that I have accomplished with my Start Today journal.
Okay, I'm not going to talk shit about this person because I don't know who she is, but I feel like this is a prop. Why would you film this in front of your laundry basket that's overflowing that says laundry? Like, as if not to say, like, I'm a busy mama working hard. And like, I feel like this is someone she knows and they told her, like, make it look like you're like a regular person, okay? Just like put your laundry, find like a laundry basket and put it there next to you while you're recording this, because she could easily just move the camera away. And if you're going to be featured in a Rachel Hollis video on YouTube, why would you put the laundry there? I get it. It's trying to be relatable, but come on.
Would be being a better student. I am a wife. I'm a mother of twin toddlers. I'm a full-time nursing student as well as a healthcare worker in the field. So during these trying times, I have found that I am a better student and better with my time and not giving up on myself. This journal has changed my life by not letting me doubt myself in what I'm capable to do. So it's awesome.
What I dig about her story is that it's real life, right? She's in school, she's a mama of twins, and she's finding gratitude in those little moments. That's what this work is all about. That's what a gratitude practice is about. It's about how can I pay attention to the little moments in my day, like this dog that is wanting me to play with him when I'm trying to work. How can I take a moment to appreciate this and realize that every single day I'm immensely blessed? And from that spirit, from that place of abundance, what is possible? What do I believe my potential is if I'm coming from a place of gratitude instead of a place of lack? If you want to find out more about the Start Today journal, we put a link in the description, but also you can go listen to episode 72 of the podcast and do this process for free. I say this over and over and over, and I have for years. You do not have to buy this thing. You can grab any piece of paper you have, go listen to episode 72 of the pod, and I will explain exactly how to do it every single day. So, guys, keep the Dreamcatcher stories coming. We're gonna do a fabulous gift pack every single week of product, of fun stuff that we have at the office, of different things that we're loving to people who send in their stories. So you can use the hashtag STJ Dreamcatcher. Jack's gonna put it here, and you'll have a chance to be considered for a fabulous gift pack. And you'll inspire other people, which is awesome. All right, guys, I am so glad that you came to hang out with me today. I'm glad that my caffeine levels were exactly where you needed them to be, Jack, and we just brought the energy, we brought the noise, we brought the fun. Jeffrey staring off into the distance, just enjoying those drugs. I will be back next week for another episode. In the meantime, do me a favor. Number one, let's comment. Let's have a conversation. I love seeing what you guys are thinking of the show, but let's keep it positive. I always say if you're gonna make a comment about your life, go encourage another sister in the comments. Go just like what she said, or lift her up, or give her an idea. Let's keep it great. Let's keep it kind. Also, if you made it this far, it means like you have to like it. Like, you're digging, right? We're like hanging out. There's something here. So be sure and subscribe to the show. On YouTube, you can give it a thumbs up. You can hit the little bell so you get a notification every single time we post a new episode. All right, guys, I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope this made your heart happy. I hope maybe you learned something. And until next time, remember, I love you and I'm rooting for you.
You don't love us, Rachel. You don't know us. God. Oh, man. Well, we did it, everybody. We went through Rachel's latest podcast and her latest Rach Talk. I can't wait till next Monday. Apparently, that's the day to do these live streams. Well, no, do it Tuesday so I can watch it on Monday. So we can digest it. We can download from the universe at large what we're going to learn, and then we can learn it because that's how it works. We manifest. I was trying to think of a funny thing to say about manifesting. Man, I'm festering for something, but nothing's really sticking. So I guess I'm going to couch that for now. Work on my funny mean girl bit while I watch Rachel Hollis content. Other housekeeping things, because I have a meeting at 2:30 5 minutes from now, Eastern Standard Time, if you're watching this at 2:25. So I got to jump off. But I got to hop off because all these people want to buy my products. No, this is a unrelated meeting. But Thursday, if you're interested in another live stream, we're not sure what the topic will be yet. We haven't chosen, but I have some ideas as to what we will talk about. I'm going to bring up that, I'll show you again on that channel. It's with me and Camellia. And just so everyone knows, I was mispronouncing Camelia's name for like the whole time since I've known her. And we only know each other via the internet, but she says her name's Cam in her video, so I would call her Cam, but I thought it was Camilla. It's actually Camellia, like Amelia with the C. So I had to learn that, and someone pointed it out to me in a comment, which is embarrassing. I had to apologize that I did not know what her name was, and I was using it wrong. She never corrected me because she's very sweet. So this is Cringefluencer. So we do a weekly talk similar to this style, but it's both of us going back and forth talking about different topics. We have discussed Rachel and Dave and Heidi before. We talked about inventing Anna last week, and I'm thinking maybe Gary Vee this week because he just announced he's got a new girlfriend. Never said anything about, yeah, I know, I need to change my background from the Mean Girls office. That's also a scene from Mean Girls, by the way. That's where I'm at today. Yeah, it's been fun. I don't know what I was saying. I lost track. I'm sorry. Like I said, I've been standing and drinking water. I need to have some sustenance. It really looks like I'm in a high school, like just drinking in the corner, like, Nothing to see here, hall monitor, just me. Okay, well, thank you very much for being here. I always appreciate it. Thank you for all the subs and allowing me to see that the technology works, and also the super chats. I'm learning how all this live streaming stuff works, so we're good. So also, speaking of, if there's I'm going to post something on the community tab on Kia's World, and we'll also post one on Cringefluencers. We need to kind of have a running list of topics of different people you want to talk about, because as much as I love Rachel, talking about Rachel Hollis, I feel like they're going to cease and desist me at some point. So I need to have other people to talk about. So if you have suggestions, I will make like a post, and you can just write some ideas, some concept ideas that you would find interesting, some people ideas to cover and deal with. Mel Robbins is one I'm working on. Teal Swan is what I'm working on. Gary Vee, Dr. Amen, that one's already like basically done-ish, recorded and done. I'm trying to think who else. And maybe Gabby Bernstein might be a good one because it makes sense. I know. I'm sorry. I really didn't. That is my bad. And I deserve all of the cringe and shame from that. But we know it now. Camellia. Amelia with a C. Okay, goodbye. I have my meeting in 2 minutes. I gotta like change everything and pretend that I'm positive. Okay, see ya. Bye.